Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Simultaneous Time Travel, starting from the inherently evil Uchiha. Chapter 61. Early in the morning of the next day, Bai got up early and started to prepare for morning exercises. Since he came to this world and joined the Shenxiao sect, Bai's work and rest has become unusually regular. He will get up and practice before the cock crows. Good morning, Brother Dao. Bai looked at Uncle Ju in surprise. He actually got up so early. Good morning. I was a little excited when I exchanged Taoism with Brother Dao yesterday. I just want to practice today. As Uncle Ju said this, his old face turned red. If Bai hadn't come here, he would definitely not get up so early. He was very face-saving, so he naturally didn't want Bai to see that he was actually a little lazy. Although he had nothing to do with laziness, it was no problem for Uncle Ju to start practicing before the cock crowed before, but now Uncle Ju basically couldn't do it. Brother Dao, how about we have a sparring match? Bai was very curious about Uncle Ju's strength. Logically speaking, as the son of luck in this world, even before the plot just started, he should have the strength of a human teacher. And his current cultivation progress has also gone from the early stage of foundation building to the middle stage, and he will probably be able to break through to the late stage of foundation building soon, but he has many and strange abilities. That's fine, brother. Do you want to spar with me or with magic? Uncle Ju hesitated for a while, but he felt a little itchy. He hadn't sparred with others for a long time, and he was actually a little tempted in his heart. So after Bai asked for a sparring, Uncle Ju hesitated for a moment and agreed. All right, then let's do it with the body. The power of magic is too strong, and I'm afraid it will be difficult to control. Uncle Ju thought about it and finally chose the body. Because if you use magic, if you don't control it well, you will hurt people later, and there are things to do today. Then I won't be polite, brother. Okay, Uncle Ju nodded, and both sides took a fighting posture. Here it comes, Bai shouted softly, then raised his hand and hit Uncle Ju directly. When his fist was about to get close to Uncle Ju, he changed direction. Uncle Ju was somewhat unable to react. He hurriedly resisted the pain on his arm that rushed to his forehead, and then his body flew backwards. What a strong force, and this move is so weird, Uncle Ju muttered in his heart. He didn't expect the opponent's physical skills to be so amazing. Brother Dao, it seems that you don't seem to be very good at physical skills. Bai shook his head. He could have punched Uncle Ju in the face just now, but he didn't do it. After all, it was just a competition. It seems that Uncle Ju is not his opponent in physical skills. First of all, he shared the 8 gates with the chat group. Secondly, there are physical skills in the world of pirates, Uchiha fluid skills, fighting skills in the King of Fighters, and fists in the God of Death. Bai in Resident Evil has also received professional fighting skills training. It can be said that in close combat, Uncle Ju is not Bai's opponent at all. Dao Yu is very fast and powerful. I guess I won't be your opponent even if I fight you harder. Uncle Ju flashed a bitter smile on his face, propped himself up and climbed up from the ground, patted the dust on his body. He felt that he was really embarrassed today, and was subdued by Bai with just one move. In fact, he also understood that if Bai had chased and attacked without giving him a chance to react, he would probably be finished. It's normal for young people to be stronger. Are you still coming, Dao Yu? No, let's do morning exercises. Uncle Ju waved his hands repeatedly, and couldn't help muttering in his heart that this young man was really different. He should not fight with young people at his age. The punch just now almost made Uncle Ju see that he was too young. It seems that his old bones still need more exercise. The two practiced for an hour. After seeing that Bai finally decided not to practice, Uncle Ju couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He quickly shook his hands and wiped the sweat on his face. Uncle Ju wanted to take a break half an hour ago, but after seeing Bai's weird practice method and high-intensity movements, he felt that it would be embarrassing if he chose to give up at this time, so he followed, but he regretted it after a while. Why does it feel like I'm the only one practicing the 8 gates? The progress of the 8 gates has been a bit slow recently, and they have only reached the 4th level together. Later, they need to urge Bai in other worlds to practice together. Shaking his hands to relieve the soreness in his hands, Bai felt that if he continued to practice like this, he would not need Taoism to open the 8 gates in the future, and he could send the zombies away with a kick. After greeting Uncle Ju, Bai Yi also prepared to wash up. Wenkai got up. Master, the sun has just come out. Do you still want to drink foreign tea? Just now, he was very angry with Bai Yi. Uncle Ju looked at Wenkai sleeping like a pig and was very angry. Why is the gap between people bigger than the gap between people and pigs? Bai Yi is even younger than Wenkai and Chu Sheng. They are so powerful at such a young age. These 2 disciples are really useless. Master, can I go too? Wenkai got up quickly, and there was a little excitement on his mature face. Yesterday, I thought I didn't have a chance, but I didn't expect there would be a surprise today. Otherwise, if you don't want to go, just keep sleeping. Go, Master, I also want to experience foreign tea. Wenkai couldn't wait to lift the quilt, then stood up and prepared to wash up. Brother Taoist disciples are really energetic. Oh, you scoundrel, you scoundrel. Uncle Ju shook his head, glanced at Wenkai, and a trace of helplessness flashed in his eyes. In fact, Uncle Ju didn't have much idea about Wenkai, and he didn't expect Wenkai to achieve much. Wenkai himself does not have any talent in cultivation. He just hopes that Wenkai can live a good life. Speaking of which, Brother Dao, will you go back to the sect for a competition later? Uncle Ju asked curiously. Every once in a while, Taoist sects will gather together to compare themselves. There are heads of each sect and disciples of each sect. Now, the sect competition is about to begin, but I feel that even if Bai Yi participates, he will probably participate as the leader. Bai Yi also said before that the Shenxiao sect has declined, and Bai Yi will be alone in the sect. I will go. After all, we are all members of the Taoist sect. It's okay to participate. I just want to go down the mountain to see if there are any suitable disciples. Bai Yi nodded and replied. He naturally knew that as the leader of the Shenxiao sect, he had received the news a long time ago. Well, I'm afraid it's a temporary disciple. Uncle Ju didn't know what to say. He just wanted to go directly to the newly recruited disciple. He seemed a little too anxious, right? Don't worry, there's still time. If it doesn't work, I won't let them go. Bai Yi naturally wanted to see the strength of both sides at that time. If it didn't work, forget it. Anyway, it seemed unnecessary at this point in time, and there was no prize. It was just a matter of discussion and then a test. That's right, Master, I've done it, you can go out. After Wenkai finished washing, he ran up to Uncle Ju dressed like a big cock, then looked at Bai Yi aside and said, "Good morning, Master Bai." Good morning. Compared with Chu Sheng, Wenkai is more honest. Although he is not smart enough, he is still somewhat polite. Yesterday, Bai Yi got acquainted with Chu Sheng and Wenkai. Originally, apart from his status as the leader, Bai Yi was even younger than Chu Sheng and Wenkai. And don't call me leader, just call me by my name. It felt a little strange to be called like this by Wenkai. Okay, Master Bai, ... Sure enough, this guy's mind was a little too expecting. Brother Dao, should it be okay if I bring Dawang and Xiaohei with me? Bai Yi actually didn't want to take them with him, but those 2 things kept sticking to him. Anyway, they would go wherever he went. He used to have to follow him even when he went to the toilet, which made Bai Yi think that rhubarb wanted to take a hot bite. I don't know this either, but, what's in the sleeve? Uncle Ju watched with wide eyes as Bai Yi lifted up the sleeve in his hand, and then sucked all the rhubarb and little black into the sleeve, and his whole body felt bad. Does the Shenxiao sect still have this trick? It's far different from the universe in your sleeves. Even Sun Wukong can directly absorb the universe in Renzin Yuanzi's sleeves. Bai Yi's magical power can only be said to be a poor imitation. It's already pretty good. Then this should be able to pass, right? Bai Yi looked at Uncle Ju with a smile. If it didn't work at first, it would be okay now, right? Of course, fellow Taoist, let's go. Uncle Ju nodded, then made a request, and the 2 of them left Yizhuang together. Wenkai, who had recovered from behind, also controlled his long mouth at this moment. What a powerful spell, if it will be. It seems I can't offend Master Bai if I take him in. Wenkai secretly made a vow to himself in his heart not to provoke Bai Yi. Although Bai Yi was younger than himself, he was much better at magic than himself and Chu Sheng. I don't know who is more powerful, Master or Master Bai. Wenkai compared it in his heart, and then felt that Uncle Ju was more powerful. In his heart, his master had never lost, and he always thought that Uncle Ju was the most powerful. Tea restaurant. Uncle Ju looked at the unfamiliar things around him with some embarrassment. Although everyone in Renjia town respected Uncle Ju, he didn't have much money to come here. Fellow Taoist, you have been to these places, and you will have to take care of me from now on. Rather than making a fool of himself later, Uncle Ju felt it was better to inform Bai Yi in advance. Don't worry, it's just a packaged restaurant. You can just go to the restaurant you used to go to. It's just that some of the dishes are different. In the era before Bai Yi traveled through time, this was no longer the case, and Western restaurants were no longer novel. They were found in every street and alley. So that's it. I remember Master Bai. Master, just leave everything to me later. Just remember it. If something goes wrong later, I will embarrass you first. Uncle Ju also made up his mind that if there was an uncontrollable situation, he would let Wen Kai take care of it first. Do you three have any reservations? What, didn't Ren Fa decide a place for us? He has little strength and is very talkative. Bai Yi looked at Wen Kai strangely, and Uncle Ju turned his head and glared at Wen Kai. The waiter beside him also said with a smile, "It turns out to be Master Ren, please follow me. Take the three people to the second floor, sit for a while, and wait for Master Ren to come." Bai Yi turned his head and looked over. Sure enough, the Ren family has produced zombies since ancient times. It would be a pity if this face did not become a zombie after death. Uncle Ju, I'm sorry to be late. Who are these two? Oh, Master Ren, this is my apprentice Wenkai, and this is Bai Yi, the head of the Shenxiao sect. He happened to come to my place as a guest yesterday, so I thought we could come together. No problem, no problem. Master Ren waved his hand, looked at Wenkai, and then looked at Bai Yi. He looks dignified, but it's a pity that he is a Taoist priest. If Ren Fa doesn't die, does it mean that I have changed my direction? Bai Yi glanced at Ren Fa, and then fell into deep thought. Maybe we can give it a try. There is no need to let Ren Fa die. After all, the movie is just to advance the plot, but in fact it is probably because Wenkai and others ignored it, and the old man Ren who did not suck blood is actually easy to deal with. And if Ren Fa is not dead, he can get some merit. From this point of view, it seems that he needs to save Ren Fa once more. Just as Bai Yi was thinking, a warm voice in his ear made him come back to his senses. Dad. Hey, Ting Ting has met Uncle Ju and Master Bai. Ahem, almost responded subconsciously. Bai Yi coughed lightly and greeted Ren Ting Ting politely, while Wenkai on the side was completely demented. It's so big. Lecher. Ren Ting Ting cursed in her heart, and at the same time, when her father asked the waiter to take the menu to Uncle Ju to order, the other party could not understand the words on it, and she also had an idea of revenge in her heart. I want a cup of coffee. Master, what is kufe? Wenkai took the menu and whispered to Uncle Ju, but Ren Ting Ting beside him heard it, and secretly laughed at him as a bumpkin. Mr. Ren ordered coffee, and she said coffee, a thing they didn't know. Let's see how she teases this scoundrel later. Coffee is coffee, something from the West. It tastes a bit bitter and not very good. It's a bit hot. If there is iced coffee, I think it will be better. Compared to the hot coffee of this era, Bai Yi still misses a big cup of iced coffee for 9 yuan and 90 fen. Oh, Master Bai also knows about this. Mr. Ren's eyes lit up, and he turned his head and looked at Bai Yi curiously. He didn't expect that he actually knew about that Western thing. Yes, I know something, but I don't like it very much. Don't give it to me. Give me a cup of Coke. Compared to coffee, Coke is Bai Yi's favorite. He only drinks Coke. You've also studied abroad, aren't you a Taoist priest? Ren Ting Ting blinked her curious eyes and looked at Bai Yi and asked. You don't have to study abroad to know the outside world. Bai Yi shook his head. He had been living on this land in his previous life and now. Master Bai, how do you know about it? Wenkai was a little anxious. He wanted to have something to talk about with Ren Ting Ting, but he was a country bumpkin, and she was the eldest lady, and she was so beautiful. It would be great if she could marry him. He decided to find out more from Bai Yi, and then he and Ren Ting Ting could have a common topic. Ren Ting Ting on the side also blinked at Bai Yi with curious eyes. How about Wenkai send you to study abroad? Uncle Ju turned to look at Wen Kai with a smile. This apprentice was more concerned about this than his own cultivation issues. Is it really okay, master? Wen Kai looked at Uncle Ju expectantly. Originally, he didn't look forward to going out before, but now he wants to go out and have a look. Then he might have something in common with Ren Tingting when he comes back. What do you think? Uncle Ju's expression immediately changed. He was speaking sarcastically, and he even shamelessly asked himself if it was okay. Is your skin itchy again? Then I won't go. Wen Kai's face fell, and seeing Uncle Ju's expression, he didn't dare to mention this matter anymore. Ren Tingting on the side couldn't help covering her mouth and chuckled when she saw it, but it fell into Wen Kai's eyes, and he began to doubt in his heart whether Ren Tingting was interested in him, because she actually smiled at him. This licking dog. Bai Yi looked at Wen Kai strangely. Bai Yi would not accept him if he was not included in the 4 major licking dogs, even though those licking dogs were also quite outrageous. The farce did not last long, and Master Ren also began to discuss the relocation of the burial with Uncle Ju. His father had told him before his death that the coffin would be removed and buried when the time came. However, their family's business had been getting worse and worse in recent years. Master Ren also wanted to remove the coffin and bury him and change his family's feng shui. Master Ren, this movement is worse than silence. I think you should think carefully about the coffin removal and burial. Uncle Ju is not very supportive of lifting up the coffin and reburying it. People bury the coffin well in the ground, so this movement is naturally not as good as silence. As he said this, he also gestured to Bai Yi with his eyes, hoping that Bai Yi would also help persuade him. Indeed, but it mainly depends on what Mr. Ren thinks. Bai Yi coughed lightly, feeling the look in Uncle Ju's eyes. He was also a little helpless. Why did it have anything to do with him again? It's not like I didn't notice that Master Ren had already made up his mind to move the burial, but you still tried to persuade him, which was obviously not possible. Dad, why do we need to move the burial? Is there anything wrong with Grandpa's tomb? Speaking of which, why don't you buy rouge and gouache? Ren Tingting is still here. Logically speaking, she should have gone to buy rouge and gouache. You don't need to worry about Tingting. Mr. Ren waved his hands a little exhausted, then looked at Uncle Ju and said, Uncle Ju, I'll leave this to you. Huang Baiwen has some business to discuss with me. I just leave first. Okay. Uncle Ju opened his mouth, but the last words were stuck in his throat and he couldn't say them out. Although he really wanted to persuade Master Ren to give up this idea, since Master Ren had already decided, there was nothing he could do. Brother Dao, in fact, it's good to respect the wishes of the parties involved in this kind of matter. It's like we know that this matter is not good, but there is nothing we can do about it. As long as the details are taken care of, there won't be so many problems. No, I forgot to negotiate the price. Uncle Ju kept mumbling for a long time, and finally managed to say this. He forgot to talk about money with Master Ren. Master Ren left directly. He hadn't even settled the matter yet. Of course he knew what Bai Yi said, and he didn't agree with it, but since they had already made up their minds to do it, could he still stop it? Why is it not good to relocate? Isn't this superstitious? Ren Tingting approached Bai Yi and asked curiously. She had received a Western education, so she naturally did not approve of the Taoist priest's tactics. In her opinion, it was just pretentiousness and deception. Originally, when she found out that her father and Uncle Ju were talking about this kind of thing, she actually didn't want to come over. But thinking about it later, I just came over to say hello to my father, and then go buy rouge and gouache later. I won't stay here for long. But because what Bai Yi just showed made Ren Tingting a little curious, she temporarily suppressed the discomfort in her heart. And she actually felt a little sorry for Bai Yi. It's obvious that Bai Yi should have received a new type of education, so why would he think of becoming a Taoist priest? Isn't this pure waste? This is not superstition. Miss Ren, let me tell you, Stop talking, I'm not interested in this. Literary talent. You are responsible for all the laughter today. Wen Kai originally wanted to explain to Ren Tingting that this kind of thing was not superstitious, but before he could finish his sentence, Ren Tingting directly stated that she was not interested in this kind of thing. Being buried is similar to moving. You have lived in one place for a long time, and a person suddenly comes to help you move. Do you think it's okay? Not good. Ren Tingting shook her head, thinking that it seemed like this. Although her grandfather was dead, it was true that he had lived in the same place for so long. It was indeed not good to just move away. As for superstition, it depends on whether people are willing to believe it. Just like people in the past also believed that the sky is round and the earth is round. Even in the era before white knight traveled, some people still believed in it. With your eloquence, becoming a Taoist priest would be a bit of a humiliation. Taoist priests are also a profession, and there is no need to be unyielding. Besides, I think Taoist priests are quite good. Bai Yi is actually quite satisfied with his identity. At least in troubled times, ordinary people are the most vulnerable to death. They not only have to face warlords, but also all kinds of monsters and monsters. Master, didn't Miss Ren say she wasn't interested in these things? Go away, you idiot. Uncle Ju glared at Wen Kai, feeling a little helpless in his heart. Was he not interested in these things? It's obvious that I'm not interested in you. If you were as handsome as Bai Yi, then maybe people would be willing to chat with you more. Thinking of this, Uncle Ju couldn't help but recall that when he was young, dogs passing by would look at him twice. Sure enough, this is a common problem among handsome guys. If Miss Ren is fine, I'll leave first. Okay, let's talk about it when we have time. By the way, I will talk to my father about that matter. After bidding farewell to Bai Yi, Ren Tingting spoke to Uncle Ju. Apparently, Uncle Ju had just said that she would tell Mr. Ren that the price had not yet been negotiated. At the same time, it seems that the rouge gouache will have to wait until next time to buy it. Thank you very much, Miss Ren. I will choose a suitable day for the relocation later. Uncle Ju glanced at Ren Tingting gratefully. Just now, he clearly felt that Ren Tingting did not want to see them because of her literary talent. It seems that it is also because of the impoliteness of literary talent. Ren Tingting is indeed a very sensible girl without the temper of a young lady. After the four of them parted, Wen Kai looked at Bai Yi nervously and asked, Master Bai, you don't like Miss Ren, do you? Although Wen Kai was a bit silly, it didn't mean that he couldn't see that Ren Tingting was obviously interested in Bai Yi. Looking at Bai Yi's handsome face and his humorous and witty conversation that attracted girls, he still has a wide range of knowledge, and I always feel that if he competes with Bai Yi, he doesn't seem to have much advantage. I'm attracted to it. Ah, not only the literary talents, but also Uncle Ju looked at Bai Yi in surprise. No, Bai Yi, are you serious? I'm not talking about the kind of fancy that I like. I want to accept her as a disciple. I just observed her and found that she is very suitable for practicing Taoism. The Yuan Yin is not broken, and the physique seems to be pretty good. You can try to get the other person to practice with you. He is the only one in the Shenxiao sect, so he must recruit some disciples to expand the sect. It is indeed a good seedling. Uncle Ju nodded clearly. If you put it this way, everything would make sense. Master, since Miss Ren is a good seedling, why don't you accept it? Wen Kai was anxious. If Ren Tingting leaves with Bai Yi, won't it be difficult for him to see her in the future? What's more, looking at it from another perspective, if his master can accept Ren Tingting as his disciple, wouldn't he be able to see her every day, and maybe he can use this to see if he can really marry Ren Tingting and reach the pinnacle of life. Are you an idiot? How can I accept someone as my apprentice in my environment? Uncle Ju raised his left hand and hit Wen Kai on the head, almost making him angry to death. In his environment, even if he wanted to recruit disciples, he would have to recruit male disciples. First of all, his place is Yizhuang, where the corpse is parked. Should he let a girl live there? Secondly, the people living there are all men, and he still has to live in the town. If Ren Tingting lives with him, it will inevitably arouse criticism from the people in the town. Even if he doesn't care, he still has to care about Ren Tingting's reputation. And Mr. Ren will not agree to it, so this condition is not established at all. On the contrary, Bai Yi is different over there, and Bai Yi is not in this town. If Ren Tingting is willing to go with him, that is also a good choice. It is better to go up the mountain to practice Taoism in troubled times than to stay here. Moreover, Bai Yi is the only one left in the Renshenxiao sect. Do you still want to compete with Bai Yi for disciples? All right. Wen Kai felt even more uncomfortable. After listening to Uncle Ju's explanation, Bai Yi finally understood why Uncle Ju did not accept Ting Ting as his disciple later in the movie. Considering this, it seems that this is indeed the case, and it is not that there are no talented disciples among Ju Shu's disciples. Chu Sheng's talent is acceptable, but Chu Sheng has not put his mind on this at all. In fact, Ren Tingting could tell from the contact that she might not have any intention of practicing Taoism. Her father died at that time, and she needed to manage the family's property, so it was naturally impossible for her to practice Taoism. Besides, she is probably not very good at practicing Taoism. If she lives in Yizhuang, her reputation will not be good, but if she goes back and forth like Chu Sheng every day, then she is a much more dangerous woman than Chu Sheng. Fellow Taoist, it's just that she looked like she wasn't very interested in practicing Taoism just now, right? I'm just not interested right now. I'll make her interested. Isn't this seduction, fellow Taoist? Brother Taoist, who do you think I am? When will my Shenshao sect need to use this kind of trick to recruit disciples? Bai Yi stared at Uncle Ju with wide eyes in disbelief. Obviously he didn't expect that Uncle Ju would say this. So this is what Uncle Ju thinks of him. Hey, Taoist friend, what are we going to eat today? I'll go buy it. Uncle Ju was so embarrassed that he couldn't help himself. Why couldn't he control himself and say it out loud? No, I'll treat you today. How can you be so embarrassed, Taoist friend? It doesn't matter, I just happen to have some. Speaking of this, Bai Yi first threw Da Huang and Xiao He out of his sleeves. Then he took out a can of monkey wine from the monster world and some sea king meat from the pirate world from his sleeves. What kind of meat is this? Uncle Ju looked at the piece of meat in front of him in surprise. He had never seen it before. Although he was a little greedy, Uncle Ju still had to figure out what kind of meat it was. After all, there are 4 things that people who practice Taoism don't eat. Fish meat. Such a big fish. Where did Master Bai get it from? Wen Kai asked curiously. He had never seen such a big piece of fish meat. He swallowed his saliva and was so greedy. Fish in the sea, and some other meat, take it out when you go back later. You may need your help to deal with it later. Leave it to me. Wen Kai patted his chest and promised. Although he was not good at other aspects, he had always been the one cooking for the charity cemetery. He was quite good at cooking, so he was naturally confident. I have been living in Uncle Ju's charity cemetery for 3 days. During this time, Uncle Ju went out and discussed with Master Ren the date of the coffin and reburial. When that day came, Uncle Ju put on his yellow Taoist robe and asked Wen Kai and the others to take the things they would need and hurried to the cemetery in the back mountain. It seems there is a Dong Xiaoyu. Bai Yi passed by a tombstone and subconsciously glanced at it. He almost forgot it before. Although this female ghost was pitiful, he still helped her to transcend. Staying in the world is also a disaster. Master Bai, we meet again. Ren Tingting greeted Bai Yi enthusiastically after seeing him. After returning to Renjia town, everyone she met here made her feel out of tune with herself. Even in the county town, she had never met anyone as knowledgeable and talented as Bai Yi. Even if the other party was a Taoist priest, she was bored these days. Seeing Bai Yi, she also wanted to chat with Bai Yi to relieve her boredom. Hey, who are you? You look like a human being. Do you want to seduce my cousin and seize my cousin's husband's property? Security Captain Away looked at Bai Yi unhappily. My cousin was so enthusiastic about this little white face, that wouldn't work. Crack. Before Away could get closer, a bolt of lightning from the sky struck directly at Away's feet, making Away tremble. Away, who suddenly felt that he had lost face, was also a little angry at this moment. He originally came to teach the pretty boy who was close to his cousin, but he was almost hit by a thunderbolt. How could there be thunder on this sunny day? He couldn't figure it out. Just when he wanted to continue to cause trouble for Bai Yi, several thunder and lightning flashed around Away in the sky. He had never seen such a scene before, and how could he dare to continue to cause trouble for Bai Yi? He wouldn't if you dared to stay here any longer, you will run away dozens of meters. I'm afraid that Bai Yi will be struck to death by lightning later if trouble is not found. This guy is really evil. Away touched his chin, glanced at Bai Yi, and secretly thought that there really wasn't a magic, right? Fellow Taoist, what are you doing? Uncle Ju hesitated to speak. He could see that the method he used just now was to summon thunder from the sky in the white night. Co-author, you can actually do thunder. He felt ashamed when he thought of telling Bai Yi that Bifa might hurt him. If co-author had really competed with Bai Yi back then, he would have been the one who got hurt, right? Brother Dao, it's just less trouble. For people like Away, the softer you are, the more he will push your nose and face. Although people who practice Taoism say that killing people will harm their merits and accumulate karma for themselves, Bai Yi will not be like Uncle Ju, and small punishments will not matter. If the thunder before had not scared away, then he would have to treat Away to a full anesthesia set meal. All right, Uncle Ju also knows the truth of being young and energetic, not to mention that Bai Yi has not done anything harmful to the world. Uncle Ju is actually unhappy with Away. He wanted to give Away a blow for his arrogant look before. Of course, Uncle Ju just wanted to think about it. Master Bai, you are so powerful. Wenkai's eyes lit up, and a trace of yearning flashed across his face. He knew very well that this kind of thunder and lightning could not be caused by luck. In addition to what his master said just now, although he was stupid, he also knew that it was caused by Bai Yi. He was able to summon thunder and lightning at will, even Chu Sheng on the side couldn't help but look sideways. He didn't get along with Bai Yi as long as Wenkai, so he often got to know Bai Yi through Wenkai. When Wenkai told him that Bai Yi was powerful, he actually didn't believe it. He is younger than himself, how could he be so powerful? But looking at it now, it seems that he is really better than me. If this hits him like a thunderbolt, he may soon see that he is too naughty. It's fake, how can one control Lei? Ren Tingting curled her lips, obviously not believing this, but wanted to drag Bai Yi to continue chatting about things abroad. Although she had seen some of the world, she had never been to the West, so she was still curious about what Bai Yi had said before. Master Ren on the side shook his head when he saw this and did not care about it. Instead, he took Uncle Ju and started discussing the next coffin-moving matter. By the way, do all priests talk like this? Ren Tingting glanced at Uncle Ju, who was chatting with her father. She didn't understand any of the ritual burial, the dragonfly touching the water, or the cement roof. She was stunned when Uncle Ju explained it on the side. It's just some professional terms, there's still a lot to learn. Then I think they have been studying for a long time, but they still don't know. They won't be able to finish learning until they die, right? Ren Tingting was very repulsive to this kind of superstitious thing at first, but after thinking about it, it seemed that it could be regarded as a kind of inheritance, and it did require professionals to do it, so she was not so repulsive. Not every Taoist priest is a talkative person. For example, doesn't Bai Yi know a lot of anecdotes? Picking up the scattered flowers on the ground, Ren Tingting raised it and placed it in the sun, and continued, I want to learn many things, but sometimes I always feel that I can't do it, and sometimes I don't know what I want. What? I feel like life doesn't have much meaning. Literary youth. A trace of doubt flashed in Bai Yi's heart. Ren Tingting's mother died young, and her father paid little attention to her because of her business. Also because of her family's business, Ren Tingting had a lot to learn, some of which she was interested in, and some of which she was not interested in. And she can only feel the meaning of her existence when she is studying. Just like makeup, after she learns it, she will also teach it to others. This gives her a sense of accomplishment and is the reason why she keeps learning. Because of this, she actually doesn't dislike Taoist priests. When they met that day, it was because of Wen Kai's rudeness that she wanted to give him a small punishment. It is indeed impossible for a finite life to learn everything in the world. Tangible things will be destroyed sooner or later, while intangible things will be eternal. Or they may have no meaning, but as long as you live, you can find interesting things, just like you discovered flowers. I discovered the same thing about you. Bai Yi said, glanced at Ren Tingting, and continued, you are a very good young talent and should not be buried in a small town. It turned out that I was looking for myself to be a Taoist priest. Ren Tingting thought Bai Yi was going to say something just now. Sorry, my father only has one daughter, so it is unlikely that I will become a Taoist priest. Ren Tingting politely rejected Bai Yi's proposal. She was the only one in her family, and she actually didn't have much interest in Taoist priests. Naturally, it is impossible to abandon everything here and follow Bai Yi up the mountain just because of Bai Yi's words. I can understand. Bai Yi nodded and didn't say anything further. If the other person didn't want to practice, he could find someone else to go up the mountain. The reason why I found Ren Tingting was first of all because her talent was really good, and secondly because I had seen the movie and knew Ren Tingting's general character. She was not the kind of person who would bully her master and destroy her ancestors. People who practice Taoism are most afraid of finding a disciple with bad intentions. With the look and feel in the movie, Bai Yi naturally prefers to find people he already knows roughly. He was a little surprised. He seemed to be no worse than Orochimaru. Why was Orochimaru able to abduct Kimimaro after saying these words, but he couldn't? Fellow Taoist, it looks like the situation is not good. On Uncle Ju's side, the coffin has been raised, and Mrs. Ren inside is obviously one step away from being a zombie. He has sucked the popularity around him today, and will become a zombie soon. Uncle Ju proposed to burn it before, but Master Ren was unwilling. Now there is no way to change the situation there. As for the zombie, I think it might be better to let him come out. Quote. Uncle Ju looked at Bai Yi in disbelief. No. You knew it was a zombie and yet you let him come out. It's still a zombie if you bury it again, and it's still possible that it will appear later, so I feel it's better to eliminate it directly. I really don't understand. Since we all know that the other person is going to turn into a zombie, why do we still need to bury him? If you bury it in the ground, relying on feng shui and laying out tricks around the coffin can slowly demoralize the zombies in the ground, and then turn into an ordinary corpse again. But the risk is too great, and Master Ren won't allow me to burn the body. Although Uncle Ju wanted to burn it, Master Ren was his client. Not to mention Master Ren's strength in Renjia town, even if he burned the other party's father's body rashly without getting the other party's permission, it is estimated that no one in Renjia town will come to him to deal with the matter in the future. What I mean is to just let the old man come out. The two of us will follow him. He will definitely go to Ren's house as soon as he comes out. Once Master Ren sees that his father has turned into a zombie, he will definitely let us kill him. In addition, Brother Dao, don't you think about it, is it possible that this feng shui master asked Master Ren to lift the coffin 20 years ago because he wanted Master Ren and his whole family to die? Maybe Brother Dao, if you bury it and the other party digs it up, wouldn't it be more dangerous then? Quote. Bai Yi's words instantly woke up Uncle Ju. Yes. If you just wanted to bring bad luck to the Ren family, it would be impossible to remind Master Ren to dig out the coffin 20 years later. Mr. Ren held his breath before he died. Mr. Feng Shui could not have known this, and he also used this method to make Mr. Ren unable to rest in peace for 20 years. In the past 20 years, Mr. Ren's resentment has only become worse. In addition, the extremely gloomy place in the back mountain is definitely breeding zombies. First let the Ren family suffer for 20 years, and then let the entire Ren family die 20 years later. This method, Uncle Ju couldn't help but feel a little cold sweat. What fellow Taoist said is that I have indeed ignored this point. If Mr. Feng Shui continues to take revenge, then it might be better to just get rid of the zombies. It is true that there are hidden dangers in burying Mr. Ren, so why not just listen to Bai Yi's plan to prevent any future troubles? But we must prevent zombies from hurting people, otherwise the responsibility will fall on us. If the zombies suck human blood and hurt innocent people, which is what they plan to do, then this will be credited to them. Brother Dao, don't worry. I will keep an eye on the zombies all the way to Master Ren's house, but it would be better if Master Ren could come to Yizhuang to watch. In fact, compared to Ren Mansion, Bai Yi wanted Master Ren to come directly to Yizhuang and watch his father come out, and he probably wouldn't stop him by then. It shouldn't be possible. Why is Mr. Ren coming to Yizhuang at night? Let's eat. Master Ren will turn into a zombie tonight. Master Ren is obviously accelerating the pace of Master Ren becoming a zombie in Yizhuang. Just use the meat. Master Ren has never tried it. How about inviting him over? In this way, all accidents can be avoided, and since his relatives are here, Mr. Ren will definitely show up. He has no IQ at this period. Now he obeys his instinct. Forget it, I'll go ahead and tell you, otherwise Master Ren will think we are evil later. Bai Yi felt that it would be better to have a showdown with Mr. Ren directly. There's nothing that can't be said. Anyway, they weren't the ones who turned Mr. Ren into a zombie. Fellow Taoist. That fellow Taoist, wait for me. Uncle Ju quickly kept up with Bai Yi. After catching up with Master Ren, Bai Yi glanced at the bearers around him and said, Master Ren, can you say a few words? Good. Master Ren thought for a while and agreed. He still had a good impression of the young man in front of him. After retreating a few people, Mr. Ren looked at Bai Yi and asked, Taoist Master Bai, what can you say? Okay, then I'll say it directly. Master Ren, you should have seen the body of Master Ren just now, right? Is that so? What's wrong? Master Ren's eyes flashed with a hint of strangeness, and then he looked at Uncle Ju again, thinking in his heart, is he here to persuade him to burn his father again? He would definitely not agree. Then Master Ren will become a zombie tonight. I know you will definitely think what I said is ridiculous now, but Master Ren, you can follow us to the charity cemetery tonight. Just one night, if nothing happens, then I will apologize and compensate Master Ren for your losses, how about that? After Bai Yi finished speaking, Master Ren's face flashed with anger. Which good person would be cursed to say that his father would become a zombie? He wanted to say a few Chinese curses, but he was still held back. Master Bai, I respect you, but you can't say such a curse, right? You know in your heart whether Master Ren is cursing or not. The matter of Mr. Feng Shui has not passed yet. We will invite you to dinner at the charity cemetery tonight. We will watch while eating. How about this one night? In addition, I must remind you that if the zombie wakes up, it will first look for its relatives to suck blood. Bai Yi's words succeeded. It is really impossible for Master Ren to say that he is not worried. Okay, if it weren't for Master Bai, you must apologize to me in person with a big gift. In fact, Master Ren did believe it a little, mainly because he had been too unlucky in the past 20 years. Just now, Uncle Ju explained that he already believed it. Similarly, his father has not changed much in the past 20 years, which makes Master Ren a little scared. What's more, he will watch while eating tonight. If there is no problem, then he will be relieved, and then let Bai Yi apologize to him. If there is a problem, then Uncle Ju and Bai Yi will watch on the side. According to Bai Yi, there is indeed a saying among the people that zombies suck blood to find their relatives as soon as possible. No way. Ren Tingting thought about seeing her grandfather's face at that time, if she turned into a zombie. Tingting, come with me, then I may bother Uncle Ju tonight. No problem. After hearing Master Ren's agreement, Uncle Ju was obviously relieved. After all, Master Ren coming here can indeed minimize the danger. Uncle, I will bring the security team to protect you at that time. I don't believe in this kind of thing. I'm afraid that some people want to take advantage of these suspicious things to take advantage of my cousin. Away, this kid has been smart since he was a child. He thought that Bai Yi was really cunning, but the smart Captain Away would not let Bai Yi succeed. This Away. Bai Yi glanced at Away and ignored him. Lei didn't scare him that day last time. Or is it because the cousin is not a human being and it's just that the cousin is too charming? Master Bai, why don't we teach Away a lesson to vent your anger? After spending the past few days with Bai Yi, Wen Kai admired Bai Yi very much. Not only in terms of Taoist skills, but even in terms of physical skills, even Jushu and Chu Sheng's combined efforts were no match for him. At the same time, he was also generous with his moves. The other party was able to take out all kinds of things that he had never eaten before and give him a taste. He even had the idea of worshipping him as his adoptive father if he never gave up on him. Oh, how are you going to help me teach him a lesson? After saying that, Bai Yi looked at the two of them with a smile, while Chu Sheng and Wen Kai were also stunned. In fact, they didn't think about it. As the security captain, Awei must have a gun. They didn't dare to mess with him, but if he used Taoism. Yes, I also want to know how you plan to educate them. Uncle Ju looked at the two of them with a dead smile. His lungs almost exploded after hearing what they said just now. He didn't even have to think about it to know what methods the two men were planning to use. Teaching them Taoism is not what you want them to do. When a Taoist priest attacks ordinary people, if he does anything wrong, it will damage his moral character. Master, we are just talking, there is nothing we can do. Chu Sheng quickly defended himself by saying that he didn't dare to touch the bad luck of his master's fierce-faced Shira. Fellow Taoist, we are Taoists. I understand, but you need to be punished. Old Master Ren will transform into a corpse tonight. Just let him suffer a little bit. Bai Yi still had that smiling look on his face, as if he was talking about a very ordinary thing. But in the eyes of Wenkai and Chu Sheng, this look was even more terrifying than that of their master. He said such a terrifying thing with a smile, not knowing that if he offended Bai Yi one day, he might not even know how he died. Chu Sheng and Wenkai looked at each other, and both of them understood the other's meaning from the other's eyes. Fellow Taoist, this is not good. Uncle Ju was a little hesitant. If he didn't handle this one well, Bai Yi would have to bear the karma of this zombie killing people. When he designed this matter, Uncle Ju felt that instead of punishing a villain and causing an accident to happen to him, it would be better to just let it go. Brother Taoist, you don't understand. If you don't give him some color, he won't give up. In the movie, why did Away change? Isn't it because he was almost bitten to death by the zombie turned Master Ren that he changed? In the final analysis, Away bullies the weak and fears the strong, and he also has a little bit of loyalty, but you have to make him think that you are better than him, otherwise he will keep looking for you. Trouble. Just now, Bai Yi thought that the thunder was enough to make Away feel timid and then retreated. But now it seems that he has thought too much. Away still needs to let him experience the horror of zombies. Then, fellow Taoist, I will help you keep an eye on the zombies. Brother Tao, you. Bai Yi looked at Uncle Ju unexpectedly. When he said these words, Uncle Ju had already shouldered half of his karma. If this thing fails, Uncle Ju will also suffer the backlash. Disaster comes from the mouth. In the world of monasticism, this is not just talk. It's okay. I believe fellow Taoist can do it. At the same time, I'm actually a little unhappy with that guy. Just now, he kept being interrupted when he was talking. Uncle Ju also wanted to save face. He kept losing face by doing this. How could Uncle Ju not be angry? But before, because of his status as a Taoist, he didn't want to care about it. But Bai Yi had already done this, so Uncle Ju naturally followed. He is notoriously petty. It seems quite interesting to punish Away. Judging from Bai Yi's previous performance, both of them can deal with a zombie that doesn't suck blood. Then does Master want us to prepare anything? Chu Sheng asked quickly. He had been unhappy with Away for a long time, but Uncle Ju was not sure before, but now he has started to do it again. No, you two don't have to do anything, just protect Mr. Ren and Ren Ting Ting. Bai Yi didn't dare to let these two cheaters do anything. Maybe these two people were self-defeating in the end, so it would be better to let them do nothing. After hearing Bai Yi's words, the two of them were somewhat interested. Their business capabilities are good, so why not let them take action? Chu Sheng was a little disappointed, but Wen Kai was ecstatic because he could protect Ren Ting Ting. If a hero could save the beauty, it would not be impossible for her to fall in love with him. Inside the Yizhuang, Uncle Ju originally planned to use an ink fountain to suppress the zombie today, and then find a cemetery to bury it again. However, after changing the plan, Uncle Ju also placed the coffin directly outside to let the zombies absorb some of the essence of the sun and moon at night, so that the zombies could come out early. Before it got dark, Mr. Ren took Ren Ting Ting and Away's security team to Yizhuang. Mr. Ren was actually unsure in his heart, mainly because his father had not decayed in the past 20 years and had gained weight. He didn't look like a normal person at all. In addition, Bai Yi had said before that if a zombie resurrected, the first person it would bite would be its relatives. As a son, he seemed to be the closest to Renjia town, so the zombies might come to him first. So Mr. Ren came directly before it got dark. Don't worry, uncle, I'm here today, so there will definitely be no ghosts and gods. Away patted his chest and promised. As he spoke, he looked at Ren Ting Ting beside him and asked, "Cousin, isn't that right?" Ren Ting Ting was good-looking and the only daughter in the family. If he married Ren Ting Ting, he would not only have a beautiful wife, but also inherit Mr. Ren's property. Naturally, Away was very concerned about Ren Ting Ting. "Master, we are here now, hope." Master Ren ignored Away and looked at Bai Yi and Uncle Ju. He was about to say something, but it got stuck in his throat. He was actually quite complicated. "Master Ren, the food is ready. Thank you for your hospitality last time. This time, I will treat you." As he said that, Bai Yi raised his hand and threw the previously prepared dishes directly from his sleeves onto the table. The three had never seen such a trick before. They rubbed their eyes and looked at the dishes on the table and Bai Yi's sleeves in disbelief. What kind of magic trick is this? Wow, what is this? Ren Tingting suddenly saw the panda standing in front of the table, raising its chubby legs to step onto the table. There were stars in her eyes, and she looked at the cute creature. Iron-eating beast. Master Ren had traveled all over the country, and naturally he had seen iron-eating beasts. He didn't expect Bai Yi to have raised one. I heard that the creature's temper was not particularly good. Well, the iron-eating beast is called Xiaohei, and the dog is called Dawang. They are the spiritual pets of our Shenxiao sect. Bai Yi nodded, then pointed to the dishes on the table and said, "These dishes are from other places, you can try them." Then I won't be polite. Wenkai and Chu Sheng couldn't bear it anymore. They had eaten these foods once a long time ago, but after that time, they never ate them again. Every time they thought about it, it was as if they had arrived at the peach garden and could never find the peach garden again. Tisk, what's so delicious about this, these two country bumpkins? Awei curled his lips in disdain, looking at Chu Sheng and Wenkai's wolfing down, his heart was full of contempt. Bandit, it's just a bandit. When can you eat like him in a civilized way? My cousin will definitely not like people who behave like bandits. Thinking of this, Awei also decided to show them what elegance is. Elegance, never out of date. Picking up the chopsticks, Awei casually added a piece of meat to the end. The feeling of melting in the mouth, the crispy and tender taste, and the sweetness of the food were also perfectly preserved. Ah, what kind of divine food is this? Did I, Awei, eat pig food for the first half of my life? Just that one bite, Awei felt like he was in heaven. When he came to his senses, it was not only Wenkai and Chu Sheng who were at the table, but the people in the security team were almost fighting. All of you get out of the way, let the captain eat first. Elegant, what is elegant? Awei just wanted to grab 2 more pieces of meat. Is it really that delicious? Ren Tingting has the reserve of a lady, and naturally she would not be vulgar like this group of men. But looking at the looks of Awei and others, Ren Tingting was actually a little tempted. It's delicious, Tingting, come and eat a piece of meat I picked for you. As he said that, Wenkai directly stretched out his chopsticks in front of Ren Tingting, and there was still meat on it. Looking at Wenkai's eager look, Ren Tingting's face flashed a trace of disgust, and she waved her hands repeatedly and said, "No, you can eat it yourself." How dare she eat it? But compared to eating, she prefers the iron-eating beast in front of her. Bai Yi naturally noticed that she wanted to reach out and touch it several times. Do you know why Xiaohei joined our Shenxiao sect? Why? Ren Tingting looked at Bai Yi curiously, wanting to reach out and touch Xiaohei, but the other party's grinning look really scared Ren Tingting. She also wanted one. Orcs will never be slaves unless they are provided with food and accommodation. It happens that our Shenxiao sect provides accommodation, and the food is not bad. So simple. After hearing Bai Yi's explanation, Ren Tingting's eyes flashed with surprise. She thought it was a very difficult thing. It turned out to be so simple, as long as it was provided with food and accommodation. It seems that her family's conditions are not impossible to raise an iron-eating beast. Try this first. As he said that, Bai Yi took out a bowl of fresh ingredients and placed it in front of Ren Tingting for her to try. She had been wanting to eat it just now, but because of her girlish modesty, she was reluctant to pick up the chopsticks and tasted it. Suddenly, she knew why the iron-eating beast was willing to go up the mountain. As the only daughter of the Ren family, although the Ren family's business has been declining over the years, Ren Tingting's treatment has never decreased, but has increased instead. Ren Fa is somewhat doting on his daughter. Naturally, in terms of food, Ren Tingting thought that she would never be as unsophisticated as Awei and others. It should be delicious, but not so exaggerated. However, she realized after eating that she had underestimated Bai Yi. This kind of food seemed not to exist in this world at all. If you join our Shenxiao sect, you can pet pandas, that is, iron-eating beasts, and eat these delicious foods for free. Ah, so despicable. Cousin, don't agree. Although Awei was grabbing food, his ears were always paying attention to the surrounding situation. When he heard that Bai Yi actually took out such a despicable threat to get his cousin to join, he almost cried in his heart. No, let's grab 2 pieces of meat first. But, I really don't want to be a Taoist priest. Ren Tingting glanced at Ren Fa, and a trace of apology flashed across her face again. In her opinion, a Taoist priest is a swindler. There may be some tricks, but it shouldn't be the same as the legend, right? So, she doesn't want to be a Taoist priest, even with such generous conditions. Besides, her father only has one daughter, and if she becomes a Taoist priest, what will happen to their family? Or should I consider it? Finally, Ren Tingting couldn't restrain her inner desire to feed the iron beast and eat delicious food. She admitted that she hesitated. Looking at her loosened attitude, Bai Yi rubbed his chin with satisfaction, feeling that his corruption plan seemed to be very successful. This was inspired by a certain anime. At the beginning, the heroine was very firm and chose to stand on her husband's side as always, but with the continuous corruption of the other party, coupled with the inner vacillation, from the beginning of this time, to the subsequent sorry husband, I have seemed a bit despicable. However, in the matter of accepting disciples, each sect has more or less so-called indicators. The Taoist tradition needs to be passed on, and the Shenxiao sect cannot be directly cut off by himself, otherwise how can he face those big brothers of the Shenxiao sect in the future? Moreover, Bai Yi was very curious. If he accepted the heroine in the original movie as his apprentice, would it be considered that he had changed a major plot? Okay, but I won't stay here for too long, so just give me the answer before I leave. Bai Yi was not in a hurry. Ren Tingting had already fallen for it, and that was enough. He signaled to Xiao He with his eyes. With that knowing look, Xiao He's expression changed from grinning to being naive in less than a second. So cute, and it doesn't seem to be fierce anymore. Ren Tingting covered her mouth and looked at the iron-eating beast she was touching with some anxiety and disbelief. In an instant, it became very obedient. Disciples in the sect can also watch pandas do backflips. Ah, do they have to sacrifice like this? Xiao He turned his head and looked at Bai Yi in confusion. Suddenly, a picture came to his mind. Da Huang stood on 3 watermelons in a golden rooster standing posture, and then he also stood on Da Huang's head in a golden rooster standing posture, with another watermelon on his head. She still won't come. Is this what a panda should do? Xiao He felt bitter in his heart. It turns out that working is without dignity. I will think about it, I will give you an answer before you leave. Ren Tingting was extremely entangled, she really couldn't make a decision immediately. On one side is the panda, on the other side is her father, it's so difficult to choose. And Master Ren on the side heard the conversation between the two clearly. Bai Yi did not avoid it, he opened his mouth and wanted to say something again and again. I thought you were a respected Taoist priest, you actually want to kidnap my daughter. He didn't really want Ren Tingting to leave Renjia town. First of all, because he only had one daughter, he hoped that Ren Tingting could stay here. Secondly, the Ren family needed someone to inherit. If Ren Tingting left, who would take over the Ren family's business in the future? Besides, the profession of Taoist priests is not popular in this era. Now it is the world of warlords and rich people. Without guns, nothing can be done. Cousin, I'll see him. Wei wanted to say something, but after seeing Bai Yi's smiling face and being chased by lightning for no reason during the day, he was a little scared in his heart, and finally he didn't dare to say that in front of Bai Yi. Besides, he had just eaten Bai Yi's food, and he decided to say bad things about Bai Yi behind his back. Anyway, Ren Tingting would not leave for a while. Master Ren, do you want to eat something? Eat something. Looking at Bai Yi and then at the coffin placed aside, although Ren Fa had no appetite, he decided to try the meat that they called immortal food. Daoyu, will it come out in a few hours? Uncle Ju could even feel that the yin qi of the coffin was getting heavier. And the sun had completely set, and he did not take any protection. Because of the popularity absorbed during the day, Master Ren was actually gradually coming back to life. It should be soon, and they may even appear before midnight. There are too many people here. In the movie, old Master Ren relied on Uncle Ju, Wenkai and Chu Sheng to recover their popularity in the middle of the night and go out. Now that his relatives are here, old Master Ren in the coffin has been ready to move. It is estimated that he will break out of the coffin without waiting for midnight. Then we need to be prepared. There are too many people here. Although I believe we can definitely deal with it with our strength, it will be bad if we hurt others. There are too many people in the security team, and the other party has guns. Gun is useless against zombies, but it is useful against people. Uncle Ju is afraid that when they see zombies, they will panic and then shoot people to death and disability and then be harvested by zombies. It will be difficult for them to explain at that time. What does Brother Dao mean? Bai Yi turned his head and looked at the slight sadness in Uncle Ju's eyebrows, and a smile flashed at the corner of his mouth. He probably understood what Uncle Ju was thinking. Is there any way to get the security team to leave, even if they have to go outside? Uncle Ju didn't want so many people in the charity cemetery. First, he couldn't do anything, and secondly, he was afraid that they would make trouble. If they were injured or died, it would be counted on Bai Yi and him. Of course. Bai Yi nodded, then turned his head and looked at Master Ren and asked, Master Ren, there are too many people here. Can you let the security team stay outside and wait, and leave a way behind? Leave a way behind. Brother Dao wants you to drive them all away. Uncle Ju smiled bitterly in his heart, and suddenly thought of what Bai Yi said during the day that he wanted to punish A Wei. It turned out that you really wanted to do it. But Uncle Ju didn't mean to stop Bai Yi. This. Master Ren hesitated, but A Wei patted his chest and assured Master Ren, don't worry, Uncle, even if I'm alone, I can protect you and Ting Ting. A Wei not only didn't stop him, but also asked everyone to go out. He was just about to hug Bai Yi and give him a big kiss. This guy was creating opportunities for himself. When he showed his bravery, Ren Ting Ting would fall in love with him instantly. Okay, can we let them wait outside the door? Of course. Bai Yi would not refuse this proposal. So, the security team members were also arranged by a way to go out. At the same time, it was not known whether it was to establish authority or to have a hidden meaning. Before the security team left, A Wei also said this. Listen, no matter who tells you to open the door next time, you are not allowed to open the door. I know, Captain. Very good. A Wei nodded with satisfaction. He would expose Bai Yi's deception today. When he wanted to escape, he would let his men block the door. He would lose face in front of Ren Ting Ting. He could also strike at the three of Uncle Ju's master and apprentice. A Wei saw that Wenkai and Chu Sheng both liked Ren Ting Ting. Put all four of them in jail, and then I will win Ren Ting Ting's heart with my heroic performance tonight and reach the pinnacle of my life. After saying that, A Wei found a stool and sat down, and then several people looked at the coffin silently. Time passed bit by bit, and A Wei sat aside yawning and counting his fingers in boredom. Not yet. Master Ren took out his pocket watch from his pocket and looked at the time. The closer it was to midnight, the more panicked Master Ren became. He always felt as if something big was about to happen. Thump, thump, coffin. While the coffin board was shaking, there seemed to be a sound like a beast roaring inside the coffin. Taoist Master, is it really my father who turned into a zombie? Master Ren quickly grabbed Uncle Ju. He was really scared. He felt lucky in his heart. Fortunately, he came to Yizhuang today. Otherwise, if his own father really came to visit him at night, he didn't dare to think about what would happen to him. Zombies can suck blood. Thinking of this, the master couldn't help but shudder. Taoist Master Bai, is he really my grandfather? Although Ren Ting Ting is an atheist, the scene in front of her is really terrifying. Yizhuang, coffins, incorruptible corpses and some legends that I have heard before. No matter how much she didn't want to believe it, in the end she was just a little girl, how could she not be afraid? HMPH, my cousin, they must be faking it. I'll expose their tricks right now. A Wei was so jealous that he wanted to expose Bai Yi's deception. Anyway, he has a gun in his hand, so he doesn't believe that the actor in the coffin dares to do anything to him if he comes out. Taking out the gun from his waist, A Wei bravely walked to the coffin, but when he actually walked to the coffin, he felt that his legs seemed a little weak and his hands were a little shaking. And the low roar became clearer as he got closer to the coffin, and he could even hear his own heartbeat. Behind him, Uncle Ju glanced at Bai Yi and saw that he was still smiling and watching the show. He sighed inwardly and put his hands behind his back. In the next second, there was an extra talisman in his hand, ready for any surprises. Just make the first move. Don't worry, he's coming out. Hey, fellow Taoist, I wish I could be as calm as you. A wry smile flashed across Uncle Ju's face, knowing that Bai Yi was trying to comfort him, but he couldn't have such a big heart. This young man is just different. Out. As Bai Yi's words fell, the coffin exploded instantly, and the coffin board that exploded at that moment directly knocked away several meters away. In the coffin, a corpse wearing an upright official uniform stood up instantly from lying down in a very strange movement. With that terrifying face, Master Ren and Ren Tingting felt like their three souls were being scared away. That was Mr. Ren's face. Although it was completely unrecognizable, some traces of the past could still be seen at this moment. I really turned into a zombie, Master Ren murmured, and Ren Tingting on the side was so frightened that she screamed. And this voice and the breath of the family member instantly attracted Mr. Ren. Stop breathing temporarily. The zombie's eyes are invisible. He relies on breathing to determine a person's position. Stop breathing. Bai Yi reminded him softly. It is true that Mrs. Ren is a zombie raised in a feng shui treasure land, but it is still not particularly powerful when it comes out. He didn't drink the blood of the antelope in the movie now, when he was hungry and weak. What should I do, Master? Wen Kai looked at Uncle Ju tremblingly. This was the first time he had encountered a real zombie. He had seen Taoist priest Four Eyes drive away corpses before, but that kind of corpse was technically a living corpse and not a zombie. Even those living rocks scared Wen Kai half to death, not to mention the even more terrifying old man Ren in front of him. Stop breathing for a moment. Uncle Ju's method was the same as Bai Yi's. Neither of them had any intention of taking action because they both wanted to teach Awei a lesson. Except for Awei, the others also understood it. Awei also started coughing after opening the coffin board. The good luck just now did not cause any internal injuries to him. He picked up the eyes that fell on the ground and put them back on. Before Awei could take a breath, when he saw the terrifying face of the old man in front of him, he instantly went numb. It's actually a zombie. So what about zombies? I don't believe you're not afraid of guns. As he said that, Awei aimed his gun at Mr. Ren. The next second, Awei was dumbfounded. Oh, are you really not afraid? Seeing that Mr. Ren was getting closer and closer to him, Awei climbed up on his hands and knees and looked behind him. He turned to look at Bai Yi and Uncle Ju in panic and shouted, Uncle Ju, Taoist Master Bai Yi, help me. But when he saw that both of them ignored him, he regretted it. If he had known there were real zombies, how could he dare to be so arrogant? Open the door. Open the door. Running to the door, Awei just wanted to run away. Old man Ren couldn't find anyone else. Awei was the only one breathing, so naturally he kept chasing Awei. Our captain said that we cannot open the door to anyone who asks us to. Open the door, I am your captain Awei. How could Awei care so much? The zombies were getting closer and closer to him. He admitted that he was afraid, and vowed never to provoke Bai Yi and others again in the future. If he survived this time, he would definitely treat them well. Make amends and apologize. In short, he was about to run away first. When the security guard opened the door, he saw a terrifying zombie heading this way. He was so frightened that he closed the door directly. You opened the door. Awei was about to cry, and at the same time, he felt despair in his heart. No loyalty. These guys just closed the door at the critical moment. Daoyu, is it almost done? Uncle Ju signaled Bai Yi with his eyes. It was almost over. The punishment was also punished. He couldn't let the zombies kill Awei, right? Seeing Awei's frightened look, he felt that it was almost done. Let me do it. Daoyu, how about we do it together? Uncle Ju looked at Bai Yi in surprise. It would be safer to deal with it together at this time. Don't forget, we are professional in dealing with zombies. Bai Yi still has enrollment quotas here. If he doesn't show off in front of his future apprentices, the other party probably won't be convinced by him. Seeing Bai Yi's persistence, Uncle Ju stopped talking. He actually wanted to see the magic of Shenxiao sect. Although they had heard of it, they really hadn't seen it in this generation. After the dragon vein was cut off, there had been no communication between the Taoist sects for a long time. This is how the Dharma ending age is, everyone is fighting for that first chance. Stupid, if you stop breathing, he won't be able to find you. Bai Yi's voice was like a huge bell, instantly engraved in Awei's mind. Seeing the zombie's claws getting closer and closer to him, Awei didn't care so much, and stopped breathing directly, and the next second the zombie's attack stopped immediately. Old Master Ren had no wisdom, so he naturally couldn't understand, but there was another breath behind him, and at the same time he also felt a very eager impulse. Although he had no wisdom, his instinct drove him to tell him that if he sucked the blood of the man behind him, he would evolve very strongly. Old Master Ren turned around and jumped towards Bai Yi. Master Ren, is it okay to destroy your father's body like this? No problem, whatever you want. A hint of smirk flashed across Master Ren's face. After seeing the terrifying appearance of his father, he dared not continue to stop him. He even wished that Bai Yi would kill his father quickly. The father wants to suck the son's blood, and the son wants the father to die soon. Today is another day of loving father and filial son. In that case, I won't be polite. Bai Yi nodded, then turned his head to look at old Master Ren, slowly raised his hands, and a thunder flashed across the sky, attracting everyone's attention. Especially old Master Ren was frightened and dared not move for a moment. The blue sky is dead, the yellow sky should be established, the year is Jazzy, the world is auspicious, thunder god help me. In the clouds, a thunder fell, and the thunder column swallowed old Master Ren in an instant with Bai Yi's order. All evil things are most afraid of thunder. Are you not from Shenxiao sect? Typing Dao. Quote. Uncle Ju widened his eyes and rarely swore. Uncle Ju of the Shenxiao sect knew about the thunder method, but no one told him that when the Shenxiao sect used the thunder method, they would also say that the sky is dead and Huang Tian should stand up. Co-author, you will not be an undercover agent from the Typing Dao sect to the Shenxiao sect. 3 years and 3 years, you have become the leader. So strong. I knew it must be him that day. Alway's eyes widened and his mouth opened in an exaggerated manner. In addition to fear, there was also a trace of yearning in Xiaozi's eyes. He originally thought that becoming a security captain, armed with a small pistol, and dominating the town would be a very good life. If he could marry Ren Tingting, it would be even better. But looking at it now, compared with those of people who practice Taoism, my life is nothing. Someone summoned a bolt of thunder and lightning, and the zombie turned into ashes and flew away. Under that huge thunder, Old Man Ren was killed directly without even struggling. Behind Bai Yi, a ring of golden light suddenly appeared, and then a trace of merit power was absorbed into it. One is from destroying zombies, and the other is from saving other people. According to the original fate, Wen Kai and Uncle Ju will be infected with corpse poison, Master Ren will die, and innocent people will be bitten to death by zombies. All of these were changed when Bai Yi killed Mr. Ren, and these were naturally regarded as Bai Yi's merits. Although they were pitiful, they were better than mosquitoes, which were still meat. And Bai Yi doesn't have much thought to deal with this at the moment. He is currently immersed in the changes that merit has brought to him. Perhaps it was because I received the baptism of merit for the first time. Bai Yi was directly promoted from his ability to break through the late stage of foundation building to the late stage. No wonder everyone loves merit. Who doesn't love this thing? The merits materialized, and the golden flash made everyone present yearn for it. There is only one step away from the peak of foundation building. After that, you can be promoted to human master, which can be regarded as completely crossing the threshold of cultivation. On the side, Uncle Ju looked at Bai Yi in shock after seeing the ring of merit. He could actually materialize merit. Could it be that I guessed wrong? With this idea in mind, Uncle Ju raised his hand with some uncertainty and pointed at the ring of merit behind Bai Yi, and asked, "Fellow Taoist, what is this?" "It's just merit. Brother Dao, you should be counted among the negative virtues, right?" Bai Yi did not hide anything, and no one else could take away his merits. Especially those who practiced Taoism knew that the other party was a person with profound merits, but they were unwilling to provoke him, because the karma may not be what he could bear. However, Bai Yi felt that Uncle Ju was different from him. He needed merit to improve his strength in the later period, while Uncle Ju directly became Yinda so that he could work in the underworld after his death. Indeed, I'm just a little surprised that Taoist friends' merits can be embodied, and it's really beyond imagination that there is such a way of cultivation in this era. Uncle Ju didn't worry too much. He was just shocked by Bai Yi's ability before. In fact, he also knew that he had some evil intentions in killing the zombies this time, but he didn't know how many there were when he was alive. By the way, fellow Taoist, are you really from Typing Dao? No, I'm from Shenxiao. Shenxiao sect. Uncle Ju curled his lips, and there was a murmur in his heart. You were just shouting for fun. If those guys on your head saw this scene today, they would probably hang you up and beat you up when you get up there. But he didn't mean to say what Bai Yi meant. After all, no matter what, this was Shen Shao sect's own business. What did Mao Shen have to do with him? Has the problem with my father, Taoist master, been solved? Mr. Ren came back from the shock. Although he saw that his father had been struck by lightning and turned into ashes on the ground, Mr. Ren still remembered the appearance of the zombie just now. So he had to confirm, otherwise he might not be able to sleep well in the future. Master Ren, your father's problem has been solved. You can collect these ashes and bury them again. Don't worry, it's impossible to turn into a zombie. Seeing Master Ren's trembling appearance, Uncle Ju shook his head helplessly, then picked up the teacup next to him and prepared to take a sip. The next second, Master Ren continued to ask uneasily, will it turn into a ghost? He hired a Taoist priest to kill his father. If his father turned into a ghost and came to find him, wouldn't he be hurt a second time? PFF'd. Uncle Ju just took a sip of the fine tea Bai Yi gave him, and spit it out in the next second. Ahem. Mr. Ren, don't worry, it's impossible for zombies to turn into ghosts. They have already turned into zombies, so how can they become ghosts? That's good. That's good. Master Ren didn't pay attention to Uncle Ju's rudeness at the moment, as long as his father didn't come looking for him. Away, hurry up and let the security team outside come in, collect my father's ashes, and then get ready to leave. Master Ren said, and then looked at Uncle Ju sheepishly. I'm sorry, Uncle Ju, I should have listened to you during the day. If Bai Yi hadn't found him during the day today, his father might have bitten him to death. At that time, Mr. Ren was still very opposed to cremation. Now that he is fine, there is no need for cremation, and his father was completely killed by a thunderbolt. It's okay, as long as Master Ren doesn't blame us. Uncle Ju waved his hand and didn't care. After all, there are indeed fewer people who believe in ghosts and gods in this era. Uncle Ju feels very good now that there are no casualties. Then we will leave first, Taoist priest. I will come to thank you in person tomorrow. Ren Fa was exhausted by today's events and wanted to go back and rest. Dad, are we leaving like this? Ren Tingting grabbed Ren Fa's sleeve. She was a little scared. The scene just now was still in her mind. Now it was midnight. What if she met another zombie on the road? Then this. Ren Fa also realized this. Just now he just wanted to go back and rest, but he forgot that this world really has demons and monsters. Why don't we stay overnight in the charity cemetery tonight? Okay. Before Master Ren agreed, Wenkai jumped up first. If Ren Fa chose to stay here, wouldn't Ren Tingting also stay here? Then excuse me, Uncle Ju, Taoist Master Bai, I also want to stay here. Don't worry, whatever you say will be what you say. With me, away, here, whoever dares to bully you, I will be the first to disagree. Away fully demonstrated his lackey characteristics. He certainly couldn't leave, and he also had his own little calculations. Taoist friend, how about we continue to discuss Taoism tonight? This place definitely can't accommodate so many people to rest, so Uncle Ju also decided not to rest tonight, and after seeing Bai Yi's ability just now, he also had the idea of discussing Taoism with Bai Yi again. Good. Master, Taoist Master Bai, can I listen? After this incident, Chu Sheng seemed to be more mature. The thunder just now also caused a ripple in Chu Sheng's heart. He suddenly felt that his previous idea of slacking off seemed to be a waste of time. He wanted to practice well and become a Taoist like Bai Yi. Taoist friend, yes, Bai Yi was a little surprised. Could the naughty apprentice in the movie mature so quickly? Isn't it just a momentary passion? Bai Yi didn't care, he was just talking about Taoism. Ting Ting, you should go and listen too. Ren Fa pushed Ren Ting Ting. Although he was reluctant, he had made a decision. He didn't want to tie Ren Ting Ting down because of himself. After seeing the power of the Taoist priest, he also knew that Ren Ting Ting would be just a businessman all her life with him. At most, she would marry a warlord and become a concubine. If she was worse, Ren Fa didn't dare to think about the fate of a beautiful woman in this chaotic world. And at least Bai Yi could protect Ren Ting Ting. And after experiencing this zombie incident, Ren Fa also knew that it was likely that his father was tricked by a feng shui master, so he turned into a zombie. The Taoist priest's revenge method made Ren Fa feel cold in his heart. First, let the Ren family be unlucky for 20 years, and then let his father turn into a zombie to bite the whole family to death, so that the Ren family was wiped out, and they were all killed by Old Master Ren. This is somewhat chilling. Dad, I know what you want to say. Father is not old yet. Taoist Bai said before that you are suitable for cultivation, so I feel more at ease if you follow Taoist Bai. Ren Fa grabbed Ren Tingting's hand, then turned his head and looked at Bai Yi solemnly and said, Taoist Bai, I promised on behalf of Tingting, you take her to the mountain. No, I won't accept it if she doesn't agree. Bai Yi waved his hand. He didn't need Mr. Ren's consent. He needed Ren Tingting to be willing. If she was forced to go up the mountain, then she might as well not join the Shenxiao sect. Taoist Bai, can I go down the mountain later? Ren Tingting gritted her teeth. If she couldn't go down the mountain in this life, then even if she knew that this might be one of her few opportunities, she would still give up, because she wouldn't just abandon her father. Of course, I'm not asking you to stay in seclusion. I'll go down the mountain occasionally. Listening to Bai Yi's explanation, Ren Tingting was completely relieved. Then she took a step forward and prepared to bow to Bai Yi, but was stopped by Bai Yi the next second. Don't become a disciple here. Wait until you return to Shenxiao sect and bow in front of all the ancestors. Becoming a disciple is not just kneeling down and saying, Master. All sects must accept disciples in front of the tablets of the sect's ancestors and inform the ancestors. Otherwise, if she accepts disciples privately, Ren Tingting will not be recognized by Shenxiao sect. Okay, don't make such a gesture. Those who are willing to stay can stay, and those who want to rest can rest. As he said this, Bai Yi didn't care about other people. This exchange with Uncle Ju also made Bai Yi understand some of the merits of Maoshan. Both sides are very interested in each other's various ways. In fact, what Bai Yi is most curious about is what Uncle Ju's strength is. There must be a human teacher, but the strength of the human teacher seems to be a little difficult when dealing with Old Master Ren, which seems to be a little wrong. But thinking about it, it seemed that it was easy to deal with it at the beginning, but it became very difficult after Old Master Ren experienced a transformation. After the two discussed the Tao, they also turned the topic to other things. Dao Yu, there is still a monster and a female ghost around you. Do you want to get rid of them all? The female ghost Dong Xiaoyu and the chimpanzee are already made merits. Are there still monsters around us? He has been in Renjia town for many years, and he really didn't know that there were monsters and ghosts nearby. Bai Yi had only been here for a short time, but he already knew everything about the area. Yes, a gorilla monster, in the back mountain, and a female ghost named Dong Xiaoyu, just save her. Okay, I'll go with you tomorrow. Uncle Ju nodded, and also wanted to see the monster and the female ghost that Bai Yi mentioned. Wei, who was standing by, saw that there was an opportunity to show his courtesy, and quickly stood up and said, I'll go with you, and our security team can help find it. He was so eager, naturally, to make Bai Yi look at him with a new eye, if he could accept him as his apprentice in the future. Then wouldn't he and Ren Tingting become senior and junior brothers, or at least senior and junior brothers? Hey, Uncle Ju, I have a question. Since this zombie was cultivated by the Feng Shui Master, will he come to collect it? Feng Shui Master is a character that does not appear in the movie, but since there is such a good cemetery that cultivated a zombie like Ren Weiyang, then he naturally can't just abandon it. Either he is dead, or he was killed by Uncle Ju before he could retrieve it. But no matter which one, Mr. Feng Shui is always a hidden danger. Since he designed Old Master Ren 20 years ago, he has fallen into evil ways. No way, that Feng Shui is not dead yet. Mr. Ren wanted to rest, but he was ready to listen to what Bai Yi and Uncle Ju were talking about, so he stayed here. Unexpectedly, he heard this news. I don't know if he is dead, but since he cultivated Old Master Ren, he may have fallen into evil ways. Most people in evil ways will prolong their lives, so no one can be sure. If you want to say who is most reluctant to die, it is naturally the evil ways. And after the good cemetery was robbed, Mr. Feng Shui might really have gone to another path from that moment, but this was also caused by Old Master Ren. Don't panic, it's just a guess. Fellow Taoist, I think this is indeed something that needs attention. Maybe you haven't been down the mountain for a long time, so you are not very clear, but we in Maoshan and Longhushan have already noticed the existence of some evil ways. They are very dangerous. Uncle Ju looked at Bai Yi with a serious face and said. In addition to Master Ren, there were only Chu Sheng, Wen Kai, Awei and Ren Tingting present. The rest of the security team went to rest. Uncle Ju thought about it and did not hide it. Although Awei had no moral integrity, he was not a bad person. Master Ren might be the one who was retaliated against. Ren Tingting was Bai Yi's disciple, so Uncle Ju was also prepared to reveal some of this matter. Those evil ways have become a trend now. Hundreds of years ago, the battle between Taoism and demon ended with the victory of Taoism and the large-scale cleansing of the demon way. However, in Qing, the demon way seems to have revived again, and in this chaotic era, the demon way seems to be even more rampant, and it is not even prepared to hide. Maybe it's because the world is too chaotic, or maybe it's something else. Uncle Ju is not sure. Anyway, at this time Bai Yi actually needs to fight for himself. Bai Yi's strength is very strong. I'm afraid, the battle between Taoism and demon is about to begin again. Brother Taoist, in fact, according to my opinion, this is the choice of the world. Bai Yi sighed. After all, there are many more evil ways in this world since Lu Bowen cut the dragon vein. Because the spiritual energy of cultivation is drying up, if a genius like Uncle Ju were in other dynasties, he might have become a heavenly master long ago. However, as the spiritual energy becomes more and more scarce, many people also have evil thoughts. Either they don't want to die, or they want to speed up their cultivation. In short, the evil way relies on less spiritual energy than the right way in cultivation, but most of the evil ways will do things that are harmful to nature, and many things that speed up cultivation require human lives. Do fellow Taoists still understand evil ways? Uncle Ju looked at Bai Yi in surprise, and Bai Yi shook his head when he saw this, and quickly explained, no, it's just that there will only be more and more evil ways in this world, but if there is any need, I will take action. Killing evil Tao himself has merit, and Bai Yi probably guessed that Mr. Feng Shui is probably not dead. Judging from the performance of Mr. Ren in the movie, he is simply not good enough to evolve into this ghostly appearance. At first, Mr. Ren was very weak, but later he sucked the blood of several people and the blood of a gorilla. Even with the blood of relatives and monsters, it is simply unbelievable that a zombie can evolve intelligence. This little blood is completely beyond the evolution of zombies. According to this speculation, when old Mrs. Ren was seriously injured, someone must have provided nutrients to old Mrs. Ren, which fattened old Mrs. Ren. Later, Mrs. Ren appeared with eyes that could see and also had an IQ. If it weren't for the four-eyed Taoist priest and the kerosene lamp, it is estimated that several people would have fallen into the hands of Mr. Ren. I have a question about that master. Chu Sheng quickly raised his hand to ask. Explain. Uncle Ju nodded with satisfaction. Regardless of Chu Sheng's whim, he was very satisfied with Chu Sheng's attitude now. Master, why do you practice evil ways? The evil way will be hunted down by the right way, so it is better to practice the right way. Bodies are divided into zombies, and people are divided into good guys and bad guys. A corpse becomes a zombie because it has an extra breath, and a person becomes a bad guy because he fails to live up to his expectations. Uncle Ju raised his eyebrows and almost got angry at Chu Sheng's stupid question. This apprentice really asks questions for himself. Even a fool knows how to answer them, right? Actually, the evil way can lead to quick success, but it will make you look like a human being or a ghost, so some people will choose the evil way if they want to take shortcuts. Mr. Feng Shui, for example, was actually forced by Mr. Ren. If Mr. Ren didn't threaten him, maybe Mr. Feng Shui would have been buried long ago. Listening to Bai Yi's words, Mr. Ren could only smile coquettishly, then raised his hand and made a gesture of swearing, saying, Don't worry, Taoist Bai, I will start doing good things after I go back tomorrow. Compared to his father, although Mr. Ren didn't do many good deeds, he didn't do any bad things either. Now he is not only trying to atone for his father's sins, but also saving some merit for Ren Tingting. Anyway, Ren Tingting went to practice Taoism, and the Ren family didn't have much to worry about after that. Master Ren, I'll give this to you. It's my apprenticeship gift to Tingting. This talisman can keep you safe, and when the talisman is destroyed, I will sense it and come to save you. Mr. Ren probably only has Mr. Feng Shui as his enemy. Bai Yi handed a talisman to Mr. Ren. Next time if Mr. Feng Shui went to find Mr. Ren, he would be able to deal with him easily. If not, then this kind of talisman could also give Mr. Ren some comfort. Thank you, Taoist Master. Master Ren carefully took the talisman handed over by Bai Yi. All Wei on the side also looked at Bai Yi eagerly, hoping that Bai Yi could give him one, but Bai Yi pretended not to see it. All Wei doesn't have many enemies. Even if he has enemies, he will die by himself. Giving him will only encourage All Wei's arrogance. The plan failed. Your zombie was killed just after it appeared. In a cave not far from Renjia town, several men in black were gathering together to discuss something. One of them made a joke to a skinny old man. Originally, I came here this time to recover the super zombies he planted. Mr. Feng Shui has been looking forward to the kind of zombies cultivated by good tombs for a long time, but this time, before he could implement his plan, the other party had already eliminated the zombies. Shenshao sect. Don't you plan before you act. That brat's lightning method can restrain zombies. That zombie does have potential. I've seen it before, but how powerful will it be when it's just born? Ren Weiyang does have potential, everyone knows this, but he has not even grown, so his potential is useless. But there's nothing we can do about it. Who would have known that just after they dug out the coffin, they took Ren Fa to Yizhuang and waited for Ren Weiyang to come out? Mr. Feng Shui secretly resented that if he had known that he should have dug up the grave, then at least he would have been able to take Ren Weiyang away and be enslaved for eternity. Mr. Feng Shui hated Ren Weiyang. If he had not been buried in that cemetery, his descendants would be protected by him in the future. But after Ren Weiyang snatched that cemetery, his life trajectory changed. Completely changed. He changed from a righteous person to an evil one, and became a person that everyone wanted to kill. Because of his evil practice, his son, daughter-in-law and grandson all died. He naturally wanted to make the Ren family suffer the same fate as himself. He wanted to wipe out the Ren family, but he didn't expect that the matter would be resolved like this. Lin Ju of Maoshan and the head of Shenshao sector here. This operation failed, and Ren Weiyang is gone. Let's go. Since the matter here is completely over, there is no need to stay here any longer. Hearing this, Mr. Feng Shui was also a little unwilling. Can't we do it together? If those two Taoists are refined into zombies, won't they be more powerful than Ren Weiyang? Are you crazy? We are not fighting the Taoist sect head-on now. You don't need to rush to take revenge. We brought enough money before, originally to feed the zombies, but since the zombies are dead, we will only be exposed if we go there, so why not leave this for the royal family in the border? One of them changed his face and directly rejected Mr. Feng Shui's proposal. Nowadays, although they have a tendency to rise, and the Taoist sect is constantly declining, they will inevitably decline with them. This is caused by the times. By the way, there are still those generals who can try to control them. No matter how powerful the Taoist priests are, they are afraid of guns. We should take advantage of this. The leader is obviously the leader. Even if Mr. Feng Shui is unwilling, he can only obey the arrangement. If you want to take revenge, you can wait for the Shenshao sect to leave before taking revenge. Anyway, Ren Fa will not leave, and Lin Ju can't always watch the other party. He can find an opportunity at any time. There is no need to take action at this time. By the way, we have to recover the bronze armor corpse and the Miaozhong zombie as soon as possible, otherwise it will be noticed by the Taoist people, and the loss will be great. Compared with Ren Weiyang, the other zombies are obviously more worthy of their attention. I know, I will wait for them to leave before taking revenge. Okay, then let's leave here first. As they said, several people hurriedly followed the knight and left Renjia town. Before leaving, Mr. Feng Shui took one last look at Renjia town, and secretly swore in his heart that when he came back next time, he would definitely massacre the entire Ren family. The next day, Bai Yi and Uncle Ju came to the back mountain, first to save Dong Xiaoyu and send her to the underworld, and then when dealing with the gorilla, Uncle Ju felt that the other party had not done anything bad, and his heart was not bad, but he was just hiding in the mountains to practice, so he took the gorilla back to the charity cemetery. Mainly because of seeing the two human-like pets raised by Bai Yi, Uncle Ju was a little envious. Since the disciples are unreliable, I will adopt a monster. And Ren Tingting went home to pack up and prepare to leave Renjia town with Bai Yi. Tingting, listen to the teacher more in the mountains, okay? Ren Fa reminded him. He knew that Ren Tingting was spoiled by him, and sometimes she would have a little temper, but she must not offend her teacher after going up the mountain. Dad, don't worry. I know. I will practice well with the teacher. You should take good care of yourself at home. Since Ren Tingting decided to go up the mountain with Bai Yi, she was naturally ready to practice. And she was very impressed by Bai Yi's move at the beginning. It turned out that all this was not fake, and the Taoist magic was really so desirable. And the most important thing is that practice can keep youth forever. Even if it can't, it can delay aging and make yourself live longer. No woman can refuse eternal youth, especially like Ren Tingting. That's good. I feel relieved that you think so. Then Tingting, go quickly, don't let Master Bai wait for too long. Ren Fa called his old friend to get on the carriage with him. Along the way, Ren Fa felt reluctant, but he was more relieved in his heart. At least he didn't need to worry about his daughter in the future. It was much safer to follow Bai Yi than to follow himself. He would be a kind-hearted person in the future to atone for what his father had done. Daoyu, I don't know when we will meet again after we part today. Although he and Bai Yi have only known each other for a few days, Uncle Ju feels that they met too late. Now that Bai Yi is gone, he is reluctant to let her go. I believe it won't be long. This time I will take Tingting to the sect to become a disciple and inform the ancestors. Later, I will take Tingting down the mountain to practice. For merit or to change the plot, Bai Yi will definitely not stay on the mountain forever. Then I won't bother you anymore. Brother, come to Shenshao sect as a guest when you are free. Definitely. Looking at the backs of Bai Yi and Ren Tingting leaving, Uncle Ju agreed, and at the same time turned around and patted Wenkai and said, let's go, what are you looking at, everyone is gone, don't think about her in the future, Ren Tingting's talent is much better than yours. This foolish apprentice of mine. It is destined that this life will be love but not love. Ren Tingting's cultivation talent is much higher than Wenkai, and the gap between the two sides will only get bigger and bigger. Wenkai came back to his senses, turned around and asked with a bitter face, Master, what should I do? But he was really unwilling to give up. Of course I give up, my cousin will definitely be with me in the future. Awei said, and knelt down in front of Uncle Ju. Uncle Ju, please accept me as your apprentice. I can do anything you want me to do. If you don't agree, I will kneel down forever. Awei actually thought about becoming Bai Yi's apprentice before, and he also proposed this idea at that time. He was about to kneel down. If Bai Yi didn't agree, he would keep kneeling. As a result, after he finished speaking and met Bai Yi's smiling eyes, he admitted that he was a coward. Although he didn't become a senior sister and junior brother with Ren Tingting, Awei decided to take a roundabout tactic and become Uncle Ju's apprentice. As long as he can enter the door of cultivation, there may be a chance in the future. If he can't succeed in becoming an apprentice, then he will at most be the security captain of Renjia town in this life. Then you kneel down. After saying that, Uncle Ju turned around and went back to his room and ignored Awei. And Awei was in a dilemma at this moment. If he stood up like this, he would look down on himself. So, he knelt like this, even though the sky gradually began to rain. Until the next day, Awei felt as if he was put on the bed in a daze. Will this kid Awei be our junior brother in the future? Then I can bully him. He, accepted as a disciple by Uncle Ju. That's the best. Before Awei could think more, he fainted. Inside the Shenshao sect, after completing the final apprenticeship, Ren Tingting officially became a disciple of the Shenshao sect. Ding! The plot has been changed successfully. Congratulations to Bai Yi of the zombie world for getting a chance to draw a lottery. Do you want to draw? Yes, Bai Yi silently thought in his heart, and then the big turntable appeared. Then, after the big turntable rotated hundreds of times a second, the speed of the big turntable began to slowly fall back after 10 seconds, and finally stopped on the Shantian Dao body. Shantian Dao body. A trace of shock flashed in Bai Yi's eyes. The legendary physique that is most suitable for practicing Taoism is also the physique possessed by the clay figures that Nuwa Niangyang originally pinched. Legend has it that people with this Dao body are like practicing on an airplane. After the fusion of the physique, Bai Yi felt a warm current passing through his body, and then he broke through again. The strength reached the peak of foundation building, and he was only one step away from reaching the realm of human master. Teacher, what's wrong with you? Ren Tingting raised her head and looked at Bai Yi with some doubts. His fiery eyes made her feel a little embarrassed. Tingting, you are really my lucky star. If it weren't for the need to maintain the most basic etiquette of a cultivator, Bai Yi would have almost jumped up to celebrate. This physique is definitely the most suitable physique for a cultivation baby. But the next second, Bai Yi's face fell. Chapter 71. The innate Taoist body can indeed increase the speed of one's cultivation, but it also has a disadvantage, that is, the demand for spiritual energy is greater than that of ordinary cultivators. In the past, this was naturally not a disadvantage, or even an advantage. The spiritual energy absorbed by others in 1 hour is counted as 1, and then the amount of spiritual energy absorbed by others is 10, or even more. Isn't that advantage reflected? But in this era, the lack of spiritual energy is simply not enough to ensure that one has sufficient spiritual energy. Then, my first priority is to make merit and find a paradise and a place with sufficient spiritual energy. Although the dragon's veins were cut off and the spiritual energy continued to dry up, there might still be some cave heavens and blessed places in this world that had more spiritual energy. Moreover, the advantage of the innate Tao body lies in absorption, so the large amount of spiritual energy required is not the problem of the innate Tao body. On the contrary, it is its own problem. It cannot find so much spiritual energy for the innate Tao body to absorb. And if you can get the treasures of heaven and earth, the degree of absorption will be much higher than that of ordinary physiques. For practicing Taoism, I am also faster. Generally speaking, except for the need for more spiritual energy, it is currently all advantages to me. As long as I can find a place with more spiritual energy, this only problem will be solved. Teacher, what's wrong with you? Bai Yi's state also shocked Ren Tingting. Just a moment ago, Bai Yi still had an eager expression on her face, but the next second her face fell, and she couldn't help but feel a little nervous in her heart. Could it be that you made the other party dissatisfied? It's okay, I just suddenly thought of something. Now that you have started, what do you want to practice? Our Shenxiao sect specializes in the 5 thunder methods. We also have alchemy, talismans, sword techniques, formations, etc. What do you want? Fix what? Any Taoist can become an immortal. The Shenxiao sect specializes in the method of 5 thunders, but also takes into consideration other things. Now that Ren Tingting has started, Bai Yi is naturally ready to teach her spells, but before that, what will Ren Tingting choose? Ah, Master, do you want me to choose? Ren Tingting originally thought that she would practice whatever Bai Yi taught her. That's right, when it comes to learning, it's best to be interested in it. The 5 thunder methods are something every Shenxiao sect needs to master. Besides the first time, I will also teach you another one. You can't chew off more than you can chew. Choose one that suits you. As long as you get started with thunder method, you need to learn it, so this is a must-teach. Apart from this, the others are all minors and can be taken according to Ren Tingting's interests. How about a talisman? Ren Tingting hesitated for a while between the talisman and sword tactics, and then decided to focus on the talisman. The reason for the sword technique is that she feels very handsome, and she can control the thunder and lightning. The thunder dances with her sword, and she also likes it very much. But after taking it all together, she finally chose Fu Lu. Because during the previous chat between Yizhuang Bai and Zhu Shu, she also knew that her father might still be in danger. Bai Yi gave her father talismans before, so she also hopes to embark on the path of talismans. If she can make talismans in the future, she will give some to her father when she goes down the mountain. The way of talismans is difficult, are you sure? Bai Yi glanced at Ren Tingting in surprise and saw her nodding firmly, as if she had already thought about it. She has decided. Okay, then my master will teach you the method now. Zombie Bai. Finally she has accepted a disciple. The teaching is over. From now on, it's up to her to make her own destiny. The so-called master leads the way, and practice depends on the individual. Although Bai Yi will give some advice later, in terms of cultivation, most of it depends on Ren Tingting herself. Gangui Bai. How about the innate Taoist body you drew? Zombie Bai. Don't think about it, it requires too much spiritual energy. If you win, I don't even dare to think about how you can absorb spiritual energy in modern times. After all, I still have some spiritual energy here. In modern times, there really wasn't much left at that time. If he was given another innate Tao body, it would be purely a side effect. Gangui Bai. That's right. Modern Reiki is indeed a matter of distress. Monster Bai Yi. Actually, wait for Bai Yi in the world of cultivating immortals, then spiritual energy will not be a problem. The world of cultivating immortals is full of spiritual energy. Zombie Bai. That's true. By the way, I may not be practicing 8-door Dunjia recently. I just have an innate Taoist body and am ready to practice in seclusion. His innate Tao body had just arrived and he wanted to practice some experiments. Daily Bai Yi. It's okay, I'm exercising every day now. Naruto Byakuya. Everyone is really working hard. Pirate Byakuya. Have you disappeared recently? What did you do? Naruto Byakuya. Get ready to rebel against Shisui, the 25th son. After the last conversation, I feel that Shisui Guy may have loosened his mind, and Danzo is starting to make moves again. What can he do recently? The Uchiha incident had already made him a little exhausted. After becoming the clan leader, not only do you have to face things in the clan, there are also many things in the clan that you need to deal with. Although he succeeded in taking back the land that originally belonged to the Uchiha clan, he also won a lot of favor among the Uchiha people. But the situation within the clan is still very anxious. Monster Bai Yi. You should be almost ready to move, right? If he had been a little more cautious at the beginning, now that he has the Mangekyo and the Sage body, it seems that there is no need to wait any longer. Hokage Byakuya. We are taking action. I will tell you later. In the current situation, it is basically impossible to end the Konoha F4 without solving it. We are completely at odds with each other. Originally, Sarutobi Hiruzen had been hesitant about destroying the Uchiha clan. After all, it is a very strong family, and the blood limit is also very powerful. If he takes action, it will definitely affect Konoha. He just wants to weaken the Uchiha clan so that he can control the other party. But after the last incident, Sarutobi Hiruzen seems to have made up his mind to take action against the Uchiha clan. However, he has not taken action for the time being because the price he has paid is too high. Once he finds an opportunity and can avoid being accused of destroying the Uchiha clan, he will take action. And this has entered the second round of the game between the Uchiha clan and Konoha. And this is Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi. At the beginning, Uchiha Fugaku arranged for the two to join the Anbu. On the one hand, he wanted to ease the relationship between Uchiha and Konoha, and on the other hand, he wanted Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi to obtain some information about Konoha in the Anbu. As a result, the two turned around and directly joined Konoha. Now because they were defeated by Bai Yi, but it was also because they jumped down, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't get angry, and he was the Hokage who needed to maintain his image, so naturally he couldn't directly attack the Uchiha clan at this time. So, he also locked his eyes on Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi. Now he can only know the situation of the Uchiha clan from these two people. Clan leader, you are looking for me. Shisui respectfully opened the door and looked at Bai Yi with some surprise. After the last conversation, Bai Yi seemed to have not looked for him for a long time. He actually kept thinking about whether what he did at the beginning was right. Shisui didn't want to see Konoha and Uchiha suffer casualties. However, with Bai Yi coming to power, this trend seems to be becoming more and more impossible. At first, Shisui had the idea of giving Bai Yi another god, but during the conversation with Bai Yi, he felt that Bai Yi's words made sense, and he seemed very naive. And this time, Bai Yi called him alone, but not Itachi. Although Shisui was a little confused, he still came. He was not worried that Bai Yi would do anything to him. This was the Uchiha clan, and he was a clan member after all. Bai Yi would not do anything to him. He was curious about why he wanted to send Itachi away. In the entire clan, everyone actually understood that his position and Itachi's position were actually the same, right? Probably. Shisui, sit down. This time I came to you to ask you about your views on the relationship between Uchiha and Konoha. Last time, I kept talking about my views, and it seems that I have ignored your ideas. In the final analysis, compared with the filial son, Shisui is a saint, but he will never think of exterminating the Uchiha clan. There are two reasons why Bai Yi did not go to Da Xiaozi but to Shisui. First, Da Xiaozi is too extreme compared to Shisui. Second, Da Xiaozi is now Shisui's follower, and he has not said that he will not go to him to find a follower. My opinion. Shisui looked at Bai Yi with some surprise. Last time, he actually proposed some ideas, but after Bai Yi's comments, he didn't dare to say anything. Now the reason why Bai Yi came to him was to ask for his opinion. Why, am I the kind of person who doesn't listen to opinions at all in your heart? Bai Yi said, putting a cup of tea in front of Shisui's table, then took a sip of tea from the cup in his hand, waiting for Shisui's answer. Chief, can't Uchiha and Konoha really live in peace? My opinion is that everyone can sit down and talk, and don't have a conflict. Other clansmen think that I surrendered to Konoha, but who knows, once we resist, Konoha's strength will destroy our Uchiha clan easily, right? Shisui said, with a bitter smile on his face. He felt like he was neither a man nor a man. He had been working hard for his people and kept saying that he wanted to resist, but did he have the strength to resist? They were all arrogant and had no idea of Konoha's strength. Their clan was surrounded by other ninja clans. Once they rebelled, other ninja clans would encircle and suppress the Uchiha clan, and the final result would be destruction. Shisui, I agree with your idea, but don't you realize that you have been deceived by Konoha? Shisui's deception plan is online. This time, he went to Shisui alone to prevent Da Xiaozi from interfering with him. Besides, the relationship between Konoha and Uchiha is imminent now. If he doesn't take action, then Sarutobi Hiruzen will probably take action. And Shisui is definitely more important to him than Da Xiaozi. First of all, Da Xiaozi currently only has 3 Magatama. Da Xiaozi opened the Mangekyo when Shisui entrusted the Mangekyo and then jumped off the cliff. After stopping this, Da Xiaozi might not be able to open the Mangekyo. A 3 Magatama wants to compete with the Mangekyo, unless it is released by the sea. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo could fool Shisui, Bai Yi didn't believe that he couldn't do it. Am I deceived by Konoha? Shisui raised his head and looked at Bai Yi with some doubts, and murmured, a little unclear. All he knew was what he saw. It seemed that no one was deceiving him, right? First of all, Shisui, you said you wanted the Uchiha clan to talk to Konoha. I want to ask, who initiated it? Of course it's you two, Hokage-sama and clan leader. Shisui said, then seemed to think of something, and continued, besides, we also took back our own clan land last time. Isn't this enough? What originally belonged to our Uchiha clan has also been taken back. Quote, from Shisui's point of view, when they experienced the Nine Tails Rebellion, the clansmen thought that this matter had a lot of opinions on Konoha. In addition, they were squeezed out later, so the relationship between Uchiha and Konoha became tense. Now that they have taken back the clan land that originally belonged to them, shouldn't it be enough? Could it be that Byakuya, like other Uchihas, hopes to become Hokage? So after I took back the clan land that originally belonged to us, didn't you notice it, Shisui? There seem to be more rumors about us in the village recently. Who do you think is responsible for such rumors? After taking back their clan land, there was more talk about the Uchiha clan. You don't even need to think about it to know who is doing this. I've heard that, but that's not the case. I believe it won't be long before the people in the village know that we didn't take this by force. Shisui said, looking a little excited. He had heard about the rumors in the village. Even on the road, he felt other villagers pointing at him. Coupled with the recent inactivity of the security team, the people in the village seemed to have greater dissatisfaction with the Uchiha clan. And this rumor is that Uchiha used rebellion as a threat to threaten Lord Hokage and return the clan land that originally belonged to them. In the end, Hokage, Hinata, and Ino Shikucho took the overall situation into consideration, and in order to prevent the safety of the villagers from being threatened, so I chose to compromise. Although it sounds ridiculous, the rumors spread more and more, and naturally more and more people choose to believe the rumors. This is also what Byakuya has been dealing with recently, another round of games, and even because many villagers pointed fingers at their Uchiha clan on the road, the normal lives of many Uchiha clan members were also affected. As for Shisui's naive idea, Bai Yi was somewhat scornful. This is already the case, are you still lying to yourself? It seems that I can only mercilessly expose Shisui's fantasy by myself. Shisui, in fact, your focus should not be on how to prove our innocence to the villagers. That's right. Now, under the guidance of public opinion, the Uchiha clan has become my guilty representative. And Shisui seemed to follow this inherent thought. Is this how we let our clansmen be misunderstood? Shisui looked at Bai Yi with some confusion. He didn't understand why Bai Yi said this. This was different from Bai Yi's previous style of doing things. Even if you don't take action, you shouldn't let the tribesmen be misunderstood, right? What we have to do is not to prove our innocence, but to let those guys prove our guilt. Your thinking is wrong. Just like you have been saying before, we want to prove that the Uchiha clan has no intention of rebellion, but why should we prove it instead of asking them to provide evidence that we want to rebel? Why do you have to prove your innocence? Shouldn't others be required to produce evidence of their guilt to prove their guilt? And if the other party says that the Uchiha clan is a destabilizing factor, they will rebel. Then Shisui is anxious to prove that the Uchiha clan is not an unstable factor and will not rebel. Why? But Shisui was speechless for a moment, not knowing how to answer Bai Yi, and he was also shocked by his words. Yes, he had been thinking before that he had to prove to others that Uchiha had no ambitions and had never thought of rebellion. But what proof do they have? While Shisui was still doubting his past, Byakuya secretly thought that the opportunity had come, and continued to lie. So, it has always been Konoha that really doesn't want to live in peace. Haven't you noticed that these rumors have always been spread among the villagers first? Is it spreading inside? Are we, the Uchiha clan, stupid enough to spread this among the villagers? The most disgusting thing is that the spread of rumors is not limited to civilians. In fact, Uchiha didn't particularly care about the fact that the villagers themselves didn't like Uchiha. However, some of the villagers will become civilian ninjas, or which of their relatives will become civilian ninjas. In fact, there are many civilian ninjas in Konoha, so to a certain extent, this actually affects Uchiha and civilian ninjas. The relationship between. I have not had a good impression of Uchiha since I was a child. After becoming a ninja, even though I have the ability to distinguish right from wrong, I still don't want to have contact with him. Similarly, other families in the village also offended many family relationships because of their title as the first Uchiha family, their usual style of doing things, and the police force. Therefore, the family ninja's instinct is to have a trace of malice towards the Uchiha clan. Look at it this way, rumors have shattered the civilian ninja's favorable impression of the Uchiha, and the police force and some family interests have shattered the family's favorable impression of the Uchiha clan. This directly made Uchiha an isolated and helpless existence in Konoha. Does it feel familiar? Ever since the death of Konoha Whitefang, those people have been very good at manipulating public opinion. Didn't the departure of the Sannin also cause some public opinion in the village? Before Orochimaru left, he had always been with the group. There is a deep cooperation, and there is a better example in the village now, that is Naruto, the guy called the Demon Fox. You know whose child that person is, right? Why is he called the Demon Fox? It's widely spread in the village, and it's not stopped. Who really doesn't want to live well? Tell me. By the end of Bai Yi's words, he became more and more excited and slapped the table, staring at Shisui with sharp eyes. Who doesn't want the Uchiha clan and Konoha to live in peace? This method of manipulating public opinion was exactly the same as it was used against other people, and it was also used against Uchiha. Shisui, stop running away. The Hokage you place your hope on can't possibly help you solve your problem. You have the blood of the Uchiha clan flowing in your body, so you are destined not to be accepted by the current Konoha. Bai Yi drank in a low voice, but those words were like thunder, deeply engraved in Shisui's mind. He raised his head and looked at Bai Yi, a trace of painful struggle flashing in his eyes. Overturning the path he had always adhered to before made Shisui feel confused and afraid at the same time. He had already sacrificed a lot on this path, but the longer he was in contact with Bai Yi, the more he realized that the path he had taken seemed to be wrong. And walking on the same road for so long made Shisui feel even more painful. Clan leader, I have awakened the kaleidoscope. As if he had made up his mind, the three magatama in Shisui's pupils were spinning crazily, and then a kaleidoscope appeared in his pupils. My pupil technique is like that of another god. It can change a person's mind and make the other person completely invisible. Unaware, the Sharingan is known as the Eye of Soul Reflection. When I was hesitating between Uchiha and Konoha, I couldn't see any hope, and it came into being. I couldn't see the hope of solving the problem, and I couldn't see the hope of solving the problem. I know how to solve the problem between Uchiha and Konoha, so I hope to solve it directly through a simple, direct and violent method. But even if there were other gods, he could not guarantee that he could complete this matter. Therefore, Shisui at this moment could only accept the Hokage's arrangement. Compared with the previous Uchiha clan, he believed that the Uchiha clan would fail, so he tried to use other gods to change Uchiha Fugaku's mind. Because his previous idea was to prove that the Uchiha clan was not guilty. Instead of what Baiyi said now, there is no need to prove the Uchiha clan to prove the so-called guilt theory. Other gods, he has only told Itachi now, and now that he has revealed the eye technique to Baiyi, he actually has a glimmer of hope for Baiyi in his heart. You'd better not tell anyone about this pupil technique, otherwise no one can guarantee that you won't be greedy. After Shisui told Hiruzen, Sarutobi and Danzo about these eyes, it didn't take long for Danzo to take action directly. After that, Sarutobi Hiruzen also acquiesced to this matter. In fact, after all, aren't the two of them also afraid of other gods? Sarutobi Hiruzen always said he believed in Shisui, but did he really believe it? If you say that Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't know about the roots, that's impossible. It can be said that the entire Konoha is in the hands of Sarutobi Hiruzen. This Hokage has been in Konoha for so many years. Let's not talk about other details, but Danzo's roots. If Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't nod, the next day the roots are gone. Nowadays, all of Danzo's rights and power are based on Sarutobi Hiruzen. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was afraid of other gods, finally chose to acquiesce in this matter. As for why Danzo didn't ask Sarutobi Hiruzen to abdicate the other gods and give him the throne, there is a high probability that the two had an agreement, or it was Sarutobi Hiruzen who understood that Danzo would not do anything to him personally. I know, only Itachi knows about it so far, and he won't tell anyone else. I probably know what you mean by asking for me, Patriarch. I am willing to tell the Patriarch about my kaleidoscope and abilities because what you said before, Patriarch, is true. The truth also makes me feel that Uchiha's problems do not necessarily need to rely on external forces to solve. However, if the Patriarch wants to win over me, please tell me the specific plan. Of course, if the Patriarch does not want to believe me, then no, it doesn't matter. Shisui has already had a showdown with Baiyi. Since he dares to tell Baiyi directly about his abilities, he is actually willing to trust Baiyi again. And his current identity is also very embarrassing. Maybe Baiyi is not willing to believe him. After staying in Anbu for so long, even I was doubting which side I belong to. Why don't you want to believe it? Haven't you been working hard to correct the relationship between Uchiha and Konoha? It's just that the efforts you made before were simply wrong. In the final analysis, Shisui's efforts have always been in the wrong direction. He believed in Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo, and finally took the Uchiha clan directly with him. In fact, Byakuya himself knew very well that judging from the strength of Konoha, the Uchiha clan might not be able to succeed if the radical faction were to become the enemy of Konoha as a whole. On the eve of the Fourth Ninja War, when the Five Shadows held a meeting, the two pillars were already kaleidoscoped, but they were almost beaten to death by the Raikage. If the Raikage was really prepared to lose his legs at that time, he would probably be able to trample Sasuke to death. And if Obito hadn't appeared later, Onoki would have killed them all. The kaleidoscope combined with the strength of the shadow level is the icing on the cake, but relying on the kaleidoscope to become a shadow, it is really impossible to win against the Five Shadows. Even though Sarutobi Hiruzen is old now, he is really not mentally retarded. When he fought Orochimaru, he was fighting the inferior version of the first and second generations and Orochimaru in his peak period, and he still took away Orochimaru. A pair of hands, if he hadn't softened his heart, he might have been able to take Orochimaru away with him. In Danzo's original work, there are all kinds of silly tricks, including Kunai stabbing Susan, but his strength is definitely at the level of an elite Jonin. Plus there are so many ninjas in Konoha, even with the kaleidoscope, Byakuya feels like he can't beat Konoha. So Byakuya can understand Shisui's original despair. At the moment, Zishui seems to have the intention to fall towards him, so he will drive Zishui away only if he has a brain attack. Thank you. Zishui felt warm in his heart. He had been misunderstood all these years, but he had no complaints. Now that someone was willing to believe in him, he felt a little complicated. Shisui, do you know about Danzo? Danzo. Zishui shook his head, and then asked with some doubts in his eyes, did the patriarch say he understood him? No, I know what kind of person he is. He has always followed the policies of the second Hokage. He is more radical and wants to eliminate the Uchiha clan. At the same time, he also covets the power of Uchiha. He already knows that Uchiha Izanagi's secret technique, and his arm has been transplanted with our Uchiha's Sharingan. This time the genocide was actually driven by him. Byakuya must remind Shisui about Danzo. That guy has been coveting the Sharingan. When Shisui heard Bai Yi's words, his expression immediately changed. Then why don't we let this matter out, clan leader, and we can tell Lord Hokage. Shisui was a little excited. Although he had always disapproved of the use of force, it did not mean that he could watch his Sharingan being taken away by others. And where did Danzo's Sharingan come from? How did Bai Yi know? Shisui's mind was also in a state of confusion at the moment. Every word that came out of Byakuya's mouth made Shisui feel a little overwhelmed. Do you think our Hokage doesn't know what Nibi and Danzo have done over the years? Danzo's Sharingan arm was originally researched by Orochimaru. Later, Orochimaru was let go by our Hokage, and Danzo didn't either. When being investigated by our Hokage-sama, it is impossible for him to say that he doesn't know anything at all, right? It can only be said that our Uchiha clan is not the heart of the Hokage-sama. Bai Yi couldn't help but sneered at the end. The double standard of Sarutobi and Hiruzen has always been possible. The Uchiha clan is a source of instability. Danzo has done so many things over the years, but he is still assisted by the Hokage. He is indeed a good classmate. And Bai Yi wanted to laugh even more at Shisui's innocent thoughts. Shisui, have you learned the will of fire? That's right. Wherever the leaves are flying, the fire is endless. Shisui believes that he still understands the will of fire. Are you still proud? Byakuya looked at Shisui with a dark look on his face, and you seem to be very proud of your understanding of the will of fire. Clan leader, Shisui touched the back of his head in embarrassment. His subconscious words seemed to make Bai Yi angry, right? But, he feels right. Forget it. Je suis so-called will of fire, all I saw on it were 2 words, pyramid scheme. It's just a lie. If the will of fire was useful, when he was in the Valley of the End, Senju Hashirama would not have personally killed his good brother Uchiha Madara, who founded the village together, for the sake of the village. The purpose of establishing existence is to protect the people in the village, but Senju Hashirama in turn killed Madara for the sake of the village. Similarly, if the will of fire is useful, then the second Hokage Senju Tobirama will not exclude our Uchiha clan, but will choose to accept it. This is even more ridiculous in the 3rd generation. The primary spirit of the will of fire is the spirit of sacrifice. As a result, during the 2nd Ninja War and the 3rd Ninja War, the Hokage was strategizing from behind and let the children go to the battlefield to protect the village. Isn't this ridiculous? The shadow of a village was hiding in the village to command, and during the Nine Tails Rebellion, Danzo, who was the Hokage's assistant, led the roots and stood still. The 4th generation is not bad, but it is a pity that he died too early, otherwise our Uchiha clan would not have reached this point with Konoha. So, Shisui, tell me again now, what exactly is the will of fire? Quote. Today, Byakuya is going to completely defeat all the beliefs of Shisui in the past. He must create a new Shisui, a Shisui who belongs to Uchiha. After reading the whole chapter of the Will of Fire, Bai Yi only saw cannibalism. For children who have not yet reached adulthood, when their wills in all aspects have not been fully formed, they will actually be affected to a great extent. In fact, according to his guess, the original intention of Senju Hashirama to formulate the Will of Fire was to let all the families in the village put aside their prejudices and family interests, and then break up all the families and integrate into Konoha like the Senju family. But is this possible? It is simply impossible. So, starting from the 3rd generation, the Will of Fire changed. In the early stage, Sarutobi Hiruzen may have realized that his rule seemed to have caused dissatisfaction among many people. He chose to abdicate and handed over power to the civilian ninja Namikaze Minato, but he was reluctant to hand it all over, and he still held the Anbu. When he came to power for the second time, the will of fire completely became a tool for him to rule the village. Patriarch Bai Yi, the village we are in now, isn't it because of the will of fire that it has been able to survive until now, and it is also because of the will of fire that it has been able to maintain the first ninja village. Shisui flashed a bitter smile on his face, trying to refute Bai Yi, but he couldn't find any point to refute, and could only use these vague things to debate with Bai Yi. He was not arguing for others, but for his own persistence over the years. What really makes the village the first is not the so-called will of fire, but for people like you and me who work for the village, civilian ninjas, family ninjas, and all the villagers. It is also what they have worked hard for. If a will can make the village stronger, then everyone should not practice in the future, just make their own will stronger. Why bother to practice hard? Shisui, the will of fire has long changed in their hands. Can't you see clearly what has happened over the years? Uchiha and them have reached the point where they are incompatible. The peace of the village is exchanged for the sacrifice of others. If they had all fought in the Ninja World War, then Bai Yi couldn't come up with any reason. Danzo was fine, at least he went to the battlefield to command, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was left behind. And over the years, the biggest sacrifices have always been made by the ninjas of their family. Did the Uchiha clan sacrifice less in these years? Then why can't they get what they deserve for their sacrifices? Do you know why the clan members have always wanted a Hokage to appear in the Uchiha clan? Bai Yi looked up at Shisui and asked. Why? Shisui was a little confused. In fact, everyone knew that it might be really difficult for the Uchiha clan to have a Hokage. However, it seems that the clan has always had an inexplicable obsession with the position of Hokage. Even if the radicals had been shouting about rebellion, the slogan was to overthrow the existing Hokage and become Hokage, not to say that the entire Uchiha rebellion and Konoha would never stop. Because we paid but didn't get the results we wanted, the Uchiha clan couldn't even participate in decision-making for so many years. The clan members thought that since we sacrificed so much, we should get some of the treatment we deserved, and this treatment not only didn't get better, but even got worse. Over the years, we sacrificed the most in the war, but got the least, or even nothing. On the contrary, small and medium-sized families such as Sarutobi, Shimura, Mito, and Utane were able to get a lot of benefits every time because they had a Hokage and a group of elders, but they paid very little. Do you think this is fair? We Uchiha want fairness, fairness or TM fairness. If we can't get fairness, how can we get anything else? Bai Yi stood up and pointed outside. Shisui, come with me to the clan to take a look. He knew that he had said almost everything he could say. He could only wait for Shisui to think about it himself. And now Bai Yi wanted to take Shisui to take a look at the clan. Over the years, probably because he was excluded by the clan members, Shisui rarely stayed in the clan for too long. Following Bai Yi all the time, the Uchiha clan has completely changed its surroundings. Because they moved from that place, everything here has been renovated and returned to the original place where they lived. Everyone in the clan is very satisfied. At least in the center, they need to walk a long time to many shops. Ninjas naturally don't need to worry, but ordinary people need to walk a long time. Not all members of the Uchiha clan are ninjas. This is the most intuitive feeling. Life has become more convenient. In the past, business could only be done in the clan because the location was too remote and there were other ninjas around. Naturally, they didn't need to come to Uchiha to buy things. After a while, many things of the Uchiha clan were not easy to sell, but after returning here, even if they had some prejudice against Uchiha, this is the center point, and there is enough traffic, so naturally some people will choose to come to Uchiha to buy things. Hello, clan leader, brother Shisui. Sasuke, how do you feel here? Bai Yi looked at Sasuke with some surprise. The kid seemed to have just finished school. This was actually the first time he had seen Sasuke. He had to say that the second pillar looked really cute at this time. Now he was not the kind of person who liked to act more and more when he was beaten, and the more he acted, the more he got beaten. And looking at Sasuke's eyes, he seemed to admire him. Does the clan leader know me? Sasuke's face flashed with excitement. He didn't expect Bai Yi to know his name. He didn't remember meeting Bai Yi. And Shisui knew him a long time ago because of his brother Uchiha Itachi. Of course I know. I have heard of Fugaku's youngest son. He is a genius student in the ninja school. Not really. In fact, Sasuke was still a little shy in his heart. Being praised by Bai Yi, he thought that his level was not comparable to Bai Yi. He is indeed a genius. I heard that he seems to be the first in the school. Shisui touched his chin, and a trace of reminiscence flashed in his eyes. If I remember correctly, Uchiha Itachi told him about his brother's grades. He is worthy of being Itachi's younger brother. Shisui couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Talent can indeed be inherited. Being the first in school is nothing. It would be great if I could be the same as the clan leader. Oh, the same as me. A hint of interest flashed in Bai Yi's eyes. After hearing what Sasuke said, he wanted to hear what Sasuke thought of him. Of course, because everyone is saying that because of the clan leader, we can all return to our original residence and maintain the glory of the Uchiha clan. I thought the clan leader was not as good as my father. In fact, because Sasuke was very young during the Nine Tails Rebellion, he didn't know much about these things. He just knew that the Uchiha clan didn't live here at first, because he could occasionally hear complaints from other Uchiha clan members. But when Bai Yi took it back and Sasuke moved with him, he found that the place where the Uchiha clan lived before was actually the center of Konoha. It was very convenient to go anywhere. And Sasuke also admired Bai Yi very much when he heard that Bai Yi took it back. It's a pity that he always thought that his father was the most suitable clan leader. Is that so? I remember that Sasuke has always been targeting his brother, right? Bai Yi touched his chin, and suddenly an idea came to his mind. In fact, it seems much easier to deal with Itachi. Shisui needs to fool him in various ways. Itachi is actually not easy to fool, but don't forget one point. Itachi has a weakness, that is Sasuke. If I abduct Sasuke, it seems that it is not impossible. What's more, Sasuke's thoughts at this time have not been completely finalized, and I can completely instill my thoughts into Sasuke according to my will. Instead of letting him follow Itachi, who has a deep hatred for him, it is better to let Sasuke follow me. After thinking of this, Bai Yi's heart was also a little restless. This is different. I think after all, Sasuke is still young, and some words can't be explained clearly for a while. He just feels that Bai Yi is very powerful, but his brother is also powerful. But he also felt that Bai Yi was better than his brother, because the whole clan thought Bai Yi was good. Even his father had been praising Bai Yi recently, which made Sasuke curious and had some psychological impact. Actually, there is no need to teach too much. Sasuke, do you want to practice with me? Bai Yi said directly. After hearing Bai Yi's words, Sasuke and Shisui were shocked. Clan leader. Shisui thought Bai Yi wanted to threaten Itachi with Sasuke. It's just normal teaching. I feel that Sasuke is quite close to me. Bai Yi explained slowly, threatening Itachi with Sasuke, but probably he also wanted to change Sasuke with his own will. It's the easiest time to fool when you are a child, but it's really hard to fool when you grow up. Moreover, accepting Indra as a disciple and changing the subsequent path should also be considered as changing the plot by yourself, right? Is it really possible? Sasuke looked at Bai Yi with expectation, but he was entangled in the next second. But Oni-chan. In fact, he was also afraid that if he accepted Bai Yi's teaching, it would be difficult for him if his brother wanted to teach him in the future. At that time, it would not be good to refuse anyone. But he was very moved by Bai Yi's proposal. Although Sasuke was currently the first in the ninja school, he still felt that it was not enough. He had also heard about the legend of his brother in the ninja school. In fact, he hoped that he could graduate early so that he could better catch up with Itachi. It's okay, it's just training. If Sasuke is on vacation tomorrow, do you want to practice with me? There are no classes in the ninja school on weekends. On weekends, you can either go out to play or practice on your own. Sasuke would not refuse Bai Yi's kindness, and then nodded in agreement. Then it's settled, Patriarch. Seemingly afraid that Bai Yi would regret it, Sasuke mentioned it to Bai Yi the moment he turned around. This kid. Bai Yi smiled. He had to say that raising a second-rate person sounded fun. Shisui, let's go on. Yes, clan leader. Although he didn't know what Bai Yi's purpose was in bringing him to the Uchiha clan, Shisui still followed Bai Yi obediently. Around him, people kept greeting Bai Yi. No matter they were old people, children, or ninjas of the family, at least at this moment, they were all grateful to Bai Yi in their hearts. Did you see that, Shisui? They just want to live quietly like this. They haven't done anything wrong. When you were fighting for Konoha, why didn't you look at the children and the elderly in the family? You are now leading the people in the family step by step to destruction, and they don't want to die. Behind him, Shisui listened to Bai Yi's words, and his heart was already turbulent. He also understood what Bai Yi's purpose was in bringing him into the family. It has been a long time since he walked in the Uchiha clan like this. Chief, so you are not going to go to war with Konoha? I have said it before, Konoha is not our enemy, our real enemies have always been them. In the end, Shisui, you have to figure out whether you want to choose those people or our family, and I will handle the relationship with other families before taking action. As he said, Bai Yi turned his head to look at Shisui, then raised his left hand and patted his shoulder and said, "That's it, Shisui, you should have your own things later, I won't waste your time, think about it yourself." I know, Chief. Shisui nodded, then watched Bai Yi's back gradually go away, lowered his head and thought for a while, then jumped away. In a secret forest. This is where Shisui and Itachi often meet. Itachi has been waiting here for a long time. After seeing Shisui arrive, Itachi also looked at Shisui anxiously and asked, "Shisui, what does the chief want to see you for?" He always felt something was wrong when he came to Shisui alone. "Itachi, there is something I want to tell you." Shisui was silent for a while, then raised his head and looked at Itachi seriously. "I want to help the clan leader fulfill his idea. At least now I feel that he is right. Everything we did before was useless. We are not only hated by the clan, but even the village does not trust us very much. What the clan leader Bai Yi said is right. In fact, most people in the village do not want to be enemies with us. On the contrary, everyone can actually live in peace, but some people do not think so. If we continue to live in disgrace, we will only lead the Uchiha clan to perish. We should not pin our hopes on them. At least, I don't dare to believe them now. What do you think, Itachi?" After Shisui finished speaking, he did not continue to say anything, but gave Itachi some time to think. On the contrary, Itachi, his mentality collapsed at this moment. After chatting for an afternoon, you betrayed. Shisui, what happened? Why are you like this all of a sudden? Itachi looked at Shisui in disbelief. Shisui, who had been firm before, was convinced by Byakuya after just one afternoon. He has even taken the initiative to stand on Bai Yi's side. Is your pupil technique from another god or is his pupil technique from another god? For a moment, Itachi felt like he couldn't tell who had awakened the other gods. It was obviously not like this before. Itachi, what do you think the will of fire is? Shisui asked Itachi for no reason, and when Itachi heard this, he was stunned for a moment, then looked at Shisui in surprise, and replied, "Wherever the leaves are flying, fire also grows endlessly." He believed that Shisui knew clearly about the will of fire. Why did he ask this? Then Itachi, let me ask you, does it belong to the will of fire to let children go to the battlefield? The will of fire seems to use its own life to protect the next generation. Since when did it start to protect the previous generation of power with the life of children? Quote. Shisui's words were like a sharp bayonet that instantly pierced into Itachi's heart. Since when? A trace of reminiscence flashed in Itachi's eyes. It seemed to have started at the end of the Second Ninja War, right? At the beginning, Konoha was full of talents, but not long after the Second Ninja War ended, the Third Ninja War came. Konoha has been besieged by the surrounding ninja villages, and without any real strength. The students of the ninja school also began to graduate early and went to the battlefield. At the end of the period, Itachi also followed Uchiha Fugaku to the battlefield. Itachi, you should have the answer in your heart, right? Another point is that our Uchiha clan is on the front line in every war, but after we come back, we are ostracized by other people in the village, and even the assigned responsibility is not as good as Mito of the logistics, the transfer clan. Do you think the clansmen will think too much about it? In fact, we just stood from other perspectives before. Just like everything we do now is not recognized by the clansmen, there will be other things in our hearts. Idea. Zishuiqing comes from blue and is better than blue. Not only did he learn all Bai Yi's previous theories, he even converted them into his own language. After parting ways with Bai Yi, the more he thought about it, the more something was wrong. Why did he feel that he had been deceived just like Bai Yi said before? It was obviously because of the persecution from Konoha that the Uchiha clan became increasingly dissatisfied with Konoha, not because the Uchiha clan wanted to rebel at first, but Konoha in turn targeted the Uchiha clan. The cause and effect relationship was reversed. After reorganizing it, Shisui discovered that the Uchiha clan had actually been compromising and trying to integrate into Konoha, but Konoha didn't seem to accept them at all. But Shisui, have you forgotten that Hokage-sama always said that he was trying to relax? If you follow Byakuya now, wouldn't all our previous efforts be in vain? Itachi still refused to give up. Deep down in his heart, he always believed that Naruto could do it, and he had been trying his best. It's just because the Uchiha clan does have a problem, that's why it seems to have been stagnant, and it's even getting more and more tense and bad. But no matter what, we can't fall to the radicals at this time. Itachi, Lord Hokage keeps talking, but never does it. Why doesn't he do it? It's because he doesn't want to do it. He keeps telling us that he is solving it, but after turning around, he lets Danzo target us. It's the Hokage, can't he control Danzo? It's obvious that he is unwilling at all and just wants to take advantage of us. After breaking out of that strange circle, Shisui's IQ reached a high point again and he quickly reacted. Sarutobi Hiruzen had been making promises to them back then. Anyway, it was just a promise, but it was never fulfilled. You said that you want to improve the tense relationship between the Uchiha clan and Konoha, but he has never agreed to the Uchiha clan's demands. He will not even communicate with the major factions within the Uchiha clan and the clan leaders at the time. He will only let them go, gather information, and then comfort them that you are already working hard. But is this useful? The clan is becoming more and more depressed, and the relationship with the village is getting more and more tense. It is not even as good as Bai Yelai. Even though there is tension with the village now, at least the clan is no longer depressed. The happy expressions of the clan members are always overflowing. Today in the afternoon, he saw that many people who had always treated him with a straight face would smile kindly at him when they passed by. Isn't this change? Conservatives, centrists, and radicals. In the past, these three factions held a small meeting every 3 days and a large meeting every 7 days. The only thing that could not be resolved was quarrels, but recently there has been a strange balance. Why? Because Byakuya is really changing Uchiha, really benefiting Uchiha, everyone has benefited, and all the past grudges have been turned into ashes at this moment. With such a capable clan leader who can analyze the current situation of Konoha and Uchiha more thoroughly and clearly than them, and who can better understand who is responsible for it, following Byakuya like this is not better than following Sarutobi before. Are Hiruzen and the others good? They never gave him any real benefits. On the contrary, Bai Yi at least allowed him to live in a much better place than before. Just the land under his feet. If he had bought it before, he didn't know how many tasks he had to do to buy it. Moreover, it was really unreasonable to buy the clan land that used to belong to him, but Bai Yi spent a very small price on it. He just paid some money to the Ino-Luka Dai and the Hyuga clan, so he took it came back. Isn't this enough? Shisui, don't you know the disparity in combat power between Uchiha and Konoha? It is true that Byakuya has gained some benefits now, but it has deepened the rift between us and Konoha, and will only make the relationship worse in the future. I'm getting more and more nervous. Once we take action, our whole family will be led into the abyss by Bai Yi. You don't want to change Bai Yi's mind at this time, but you are still following him. Quote. Itachi didn't understand why Shisui, who was still very rational in the morning, was not rational now. Can't we think from the Hokage's perspective? One clan, always one clan, and now even Shisui has been immersed in this clan. He was also a little disappointed in his heart. Although Bai Yi's remarks shocked him at first, it did not shake his firm determination. After all, he knew how big the power gap between the two sides was. It was clear that Shisui, whom he had always admired and always thought had the ability to think independently and was different from other Uchiha people, seemed to be becoming more and more unfamiliar to him. But do you know, Chief Byakuya told me that Konoha's purpose is to make us resist, but the current situation is actually boiling frogs in warm water. Haven't you noticed that we have been working hard, and others have also? I'm working hard, but the relationship between us is still getting more and more tense. Why? Because I'm trying in the wrong direction, and Itachi, just believe me, I'll be able to solve it this time. Shisui stretched out his left hand and placed it in front of Itachi, wanting Itachi to stand with them. At least it was much better than following Sarutobi Hiruzen. That guy has been painting cakes for them and has never solved any problems, and at that time, Byakuya heard that Danzo's arms were all filled with the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. However, Shisui is not ready to tell Itachi for the time being, because he actually doesn't know very well whether this matter is true, so he plans to tell Itachi the news after subsequent confirmation. I believe that after knowing the truth, he will also. I will no longer insist on siding with Konoha. Looking at Shisui's left hand, Itachi's expression kept changing. It seemed that he couldn't continue to be the same as before. Shisui, are we really going to do this? Do we really have to give up what we did together before? Giving up now means that everything we have done before has been in vain. Itachi decided to continue fighting. He wanted to persuade the other party. I've made my choice. Shisui nodded. He will not change again. Even if he dies for this matter this time, he will not change again. In that case, I'm sorry, Shisui, but I can't continue with you, but I won't tell Mr. Hokage for the time being. I hope you think about it again. As he said that, Itachi looked at Shisui with a complicated expression. Obviously, he still couldn't accept Jisui's invitation. Even if he is the only one walking this path, he will stick to it because he doesn't want to see the entire Uchiha clan perish. Konoha will never be his opponent in a fight, and Shisui, his best friend, and his teacher seem to have been blinded by Byakuya. It doesn't matter, Itachi, you should think about it carefully. In fact, if you think about it carefully, you will know whether what I said is right or not. Jisui waved his hand. Although he was a little disappointed that Itachi couldn't accept his remarks for the time being, he didn't care too much. Just like himself, wasn't it possible for him to accept Baiyi's words at first? But now he has figured it out, and he believes Itachi can figure this out in the future. Then Shisui will leave it like this for today. Itachi lowered his head, a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He originally had a lot to say to Shisui today, but looking at it now, it seems that it is not necessary. He just feels that this feeling of going against the grain seems a little uncomfortable. I understand, then go back and rest early, Itachi. With that said, Shisui patted Itachi on the shoulder and left. Itachi stayed there for a while and looked at the moon, then sighed and left as well. After both of them left, a whirlpool appeared on the spot, and half of a nepenthes on the ground slowly emerged. Afei, it seems like what we guessed before, Uchiha and Konoha will definitely go to war. Originally, when Uchiha Fugaku was still on stage, they had thought that Konoha might not be able to bear it after a while. Don't forget, there is a Danzo here. And Baiyi's coming to power seems to have made the relationship between the two parties even more tense during this period of time. It seems that taking action in advance is expected. Ah, speaking of which, that guy's methods are really powerful. He actually instigated Shisui's rebellion. Ah Fei scratched his hair and felt that something was not going well. What exactly does Uchiha Byakuya want to do? Shisui's eye technique Koto Amatsukami was accidentally monitored by Zetsu. Since then, Obito has been very cautious when coming to Konoha. After all, if he is controlled by Shisui's Koto Amatsukami, he will be finished. That guy does have some tricks. After all, he can make the other party spit out all the land that was originally taken away. Black Zetsu said lightly. Since Baiyi became the leader of the clan, he has also paid attention to it, but he didn't pay too much attention. In Black Zetsu's view, there is actually no need for him to pay attention to these guys. He only needs to pay attention to two people, Indra and the reincarnation of Ashura. As for the others, they are not even chess pieces. Then should we do something? White Zetsu feels that this is a very good time to join in the fun. Should we do something? Uchiha clan. For this clan, Obito has a complicated feeling. He was born here, but he didn't have a very good life since he was a child, because he was the last one. Even if the Uchiha clan is not the first, it will not be the last one, but he is. Therefore, Obito was not very happy in the clan. And Obito was also very clear about the potential of the Mangekyo. He was once the last one in the group, but after awakening the Mangekyo, it took only a short time for him to have the possibility of fighting with Minato Namikaze. Although he was defeated in the end, he was also very clear and also very afraid that the Uchiha clan would show some other eye skills to disrupt his plan. I think the Uchiha clan will eliminate some people, but they must also leave some behind. Black Zetsu's eyes flashed. He wanted to kill some of the Uchiha clan and leave Indra. If Madara's plan failed later, he would use this generation of Indra. Of course, in Black Zetsu's opinion, Madara would never fail. Because this time was the closest time for him, and all the plans were designed according to his own. Well, before taking action, let's contact the candidates we need later. After all, it is not convenient for me to come here, not to mention that I have to manage the Mist Village, and the Mist Village is about to reach the last step. Inconvenience is just an excuse. The main thing is Shisui's ability. He is actually a little afraid. Of course, it was also because the Mist Village was about to withdraw and prepare for action, so they naturally didn't want to distract themselves by fighting on two fronts, so they would first contact the right person here. In this regard, Ju had no opinion. As long as it didn't affect the Moon-Eye plan, it was up to Obito. After the two finished talking, they left here quickly. In the Uchiha clan, Baiyi listened to the prompt sound in his ear and smiled. Ding! Change Shisui's fate and reward a chance to draw a lottery. Has Shisui's fate been changed? Picking up the teacup, Byakuya took a sip of tea, and after thinking for a moment, he probably understood that Shisui was also leaning towards him. Since he chose to favor himself, it means that Shisui will never tell Sarutobi Hiruzen and others about his pupil skills, and even if they find out, he will never go alone when Danzo calls him. So, this time I got a chance to draw a lottery. Use. Baiyi thought silently in his heart, and then countless options began to appear on the turntable in front of him. Ding! The lottery is completed. Congratulations on winning. The bloodline of the Whirlpool clan. The Uzumaki clan. Baiyi stood up suddenly. He felt that the chakra in his body began to surge. He no longer knew how much chakra he had. The immortal human body has a lot of chakra, and it also has the ability to quickly restore chakra. The Uzumaki clan is also a family that inherited the immortal human body. Naturally, the two merged together. Baiyi felt that he was basically equal to the filth at this time. In the reincarnated state, Uchiha Itachi can use whatever ninjutsu he wants at will, and there is no need to worry about insufficient chakra. And with the blood inheritance limit of the Whirlpool clan, he can still learn the sealing technique of the Whirlpool clan in the future, but unfortunately it is most likely in the Book of Seals now. Speaking of which, Uzumaki Mito may not write it in the Book of Sealings, but Uzumaki Kushina probably will, because the Uzumaki clan has been exterminated at that time, and her husband is the fourth Hokage, so she is very likely to record the sealing technique. Now, Byakuya is more confident about the current situation. The Uzumaki clan's blood inheritance limit and the immortal body provide him with endurance, and the kaleidoscope can open Susanoo infinitely. It's just a pity. If there is an eternal eye, he can with the full body activated, and also with would escape, he wouldn't worry about being beaten by a group. Susanoo is indeed strong, but if he is not in the complete form, he still has weaknesses. This guy Shisui not only gave himself an extra fighting power, but also gave him the blood of the Uzumaki clan. Later, he will add a wood escape, and he will green the village. However, there is a high probability that the secret technique of Mudun is also in the Book of Sealings. Unfortunately, if I can get the Book of Sealings now and see the ninjutsu in it, I should first learn the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki clan. In fact, when it comes to the most powerful ability in the Naruto world, it is the sealing technique. Even Kagaya can be sealed, Amaterasu can also be sealed in the early stage, the Nine Tails can also be sealed, and even people can exchange their lives for one. It is said that this thing is like a bug. Judging from this, the destruction of the Uzumaki clan seems to be inextricably related to their sealing technique. On the other end, after parting ways with Shisui, Itachi did not directly choose to return to the Uchiha clan, but went to the Hokage's office. Itachi, what's the matter with coming here so late? Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head and looked at Itachi with a gentle expression. Then he seemed to have thought of something and continued to ask, "Didn't Shisui come with you?" Both of them were Anbu, and he knew very well that Shisui had no mission today. Logically speaking, the two of them had been acting together. Why was Itachi Uchiha the only one here today? No, Shisui had something to do, so he didn't come over. Itachi hesitated for a while, and finally moved the corner of his mouth, but decided not to tell Hiruzen Sarutobi that Shisui had fallen towards Byakuya. He still had a glimmer of hope in his heart. Maybe Shisui was only temporary, and he could persuade him to come back later, but if he told the third Hokage about this matter, then Shisui would definitely not be trusted again. That's it. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't think much and continued to ask in a gentle tone. Then Itachi, why are you here so late? Did something happen in the Uchiha clan? During this time, due to the move, the Uchiha clan didn't make much noise. He was actually hesitating whether to end it like this. It seemed that apart from their family's losses, at least the relationship between the village and Uchiha seemed to have eased a bit. But within the Sarutobi clan, there are actually quite some opinions on him. Just because they originally occupied the central position, they suddenly moved away, which made no one happy. The same is true for other families like Shimura and Mito. They had not received such good treatment at first, and they were worried that Uchiha would protest at first, but after such a long time, Uchiha had no objection, and they accepted it all with peace of mind. It is easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it is difficult to go from luxury to frugality. Now that they are suddenly asked to vomit it out, it is impossible for them not to have any complaints in their hearts. In addition, Danzo, Mito Manabu and Kaharu, who had transferred to the dormitory, were also urging him to take action. The third generation, who was originally prepared to settle the matter, suddenly became a little entangled again. He did not want to completely wipe out the Uchiha clan by his own hands, because this would put Konoha into a weak state. Once other things happened and the Fourth Ninja War started, he would become the leader of the village, Sinner. However, Mito Kadoin and Kaden Kaharu, who were originally neutral factions, seemed to be on the same side with Danzo because of this incident. Now all three of them are asking him to take action. In addition to some recent voices within his own family and his desire to weaken Uchiha, Sarutobi Hiruzen is actually starting to get ready to take action against Uchiha. Everything is as before, but I feel they will take action soon. Itachi also discovered during this period that as Byakuya came to power, more people in the clan were inclined to take action. At the same time, because of Byakuya's previous actions, Uchiha benefited, and many neutral factions were shaken. Because they still have another idea, and that is to become Hokage. There has never been a Hokage in the Uchiha clan. Don't they, the Uchiha clan, deserve to be Hokage? With this idea in mind, everyone in the clan began to get ready to take action. If you can win once, then you can win a second time, right? This is the idea that many Uchiha people have today. But in Itachi's view, with their narrow vision, how could they become Hokage? They couldn't become Hokage. They had no overall perspective at all and only thought about one clan and one clan. Is the Uchiha clan going to take action? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes widened and he looked at Itachi in disbelief. He was obviously surprised by Itachi's statement. He originally thought that after getting the benefits, the Uchiha clan would stop, but judging from Itachi's description, this was not the case at all. Do the Uchiha clan still want to push further? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a trace of murderous intention in his heart. If it is true, as Itachi Uchiha said, that the Uchiha clan is ready to take action against Konoha, then it is still possible to eliminate Uchiha with Konoha's ability, although they will also need to pay a high price. In fact, it was also because of the last victory that the radicals originally stood with Bai Yi, and many centrists turned to Bai Yi. Even the conservatives did not say much about Bai Yi's actions after getting the benefits. Now the factions all seem to have vague plans to continue following Bai Yi. Because Bai Yi actually brought them benefits, the various factions naturally chose to follow Bai Yi. This was also part of the basis for Itachi's belief that the Uchiha clan might take action. The biggest reason was that Byakuya's thoughts were too dangerous. He discovered this after his first contact with Byakuya. The fact that all the factions have recently turned to Bai Yi actually shows that Bai Yi will probably start his own actions next. So according to what you mean, Itachi, Byakuya is preparing to go to war with Konoha. What a dangerous guy. Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little distressed. If it were Fugaku, he felt that he didn't need Itachi to reciprocate his thoughts. He could guess them clearly. But since Byakuya became the leader of the Uchiha clan, even Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't understand those decisions. Now he is preparing to lead Uchiha and Konoha to war. Is this guy crazy? Not yet, but if all the tribesmen turn to him, they probably will. Well, Itachi, please always pay attention to the situation of the Uchiha clan. I will stabilize the situation for the time being. The problem between the village and the Uchiha will be resolved sooner or later. Sarutobi Hiruzen scratched his forehead in distress, and then waved his hand to tell Itachi to go back first and think about it. According to the news brought by Itachi, Sarutobi Hiruzen also knew very well at this moment that if the entire clan fell to Byakuya, their plans for the Uchiha clan's actions might suffer great losses. But he had to fight with the other party. After Itachi left, Danzo slowly walked out, then looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and said calmly, I have said long ago that the Uchiha clan is a scourge, and we should eliminate them as soon as possible. It was easier to take action when they were still hesitating before, but now if we continue to wait for them to all fall to Baiyi, we will only suffer greater losses. He had listened to the entire conversation just now. He believed that it was still possible to deal with the Uchiha clan, and that Konoha would not be unable to deal with even a single ninja clan. However, at the beginning, he could obviously do it at a very small cost, but in the end, Sarutobi Hiruzen had to drag it on. If this continues, the price to be paid will be greater. Danzo, do you know what this means? Once we attack Uchiha, first of all we need a reason. Secondly, if we kill the Uchiha clan, we will also consume Konoha's strength. And if the Uchiha clan is gone, then Konoha will be at our weakest point, and we will not be able to bear it when other ninja villages take advantage of it. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen was already inclined to kill the Uchiha clan in his heart. But the current situation is that he wants to kill the other party, but he has no reason and does not want to bear the consequences of the failure of the Fourth Ninja War. So Sarutobi Hiruzen decided not to take action yet. I can find reasons, and I can even let them do it themselves. There is also no need to worry about the Fourth Ninja War. There has been some friction between Kumogakure and Iwa Ninja recently. The two sides are engaged in a small-scale war, and they have no intention at all. Fight us. The Mist Ninja are still under the Blood Mist policy. Although I don't know the internal situation, I can estimate that it is a mess. Even if it is not, based on the situation that they have not come out these years, they will not take action in this operation again. They themselves have lost much more bloodstained families than we have. The current strength of the Mist Ninjas is not enough, and the 7 ninja swordsmen are not of the same mind. Their Blood Mist policy has caused the ninjas in the village to have no way to trust their teammates. The Sand Shinobi's Wind Shadow has a gap with their hero Yikang, so they can be led to start internal strife or other things, so that the Sand Shinobi will have no time to take care of us, and they have not recovered from the Third Ninja World War. So if you want to take action, now is the best time. Once other ninja villages react, we will no longer have any chance. Quote. Danzo's eyes are still gloomy, but his face is very calm, as if he is also telling a very ordinary thing. The reason why he dared to choose to take action at this time is purely because he had already thought about it. Is it possible that in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart, he is the kind of person who will harm the interests of Konoha? Your roots are really pervasive. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo deeply. He knew the situation in other villages very well. He didn't expect that after so many years, Danzo's roots had penetrated to this extent. Over the years, he was unable to control Konoha, so he handed over some of the power to Danzo. I didn't expect that Danzo seemed to have some power of his own. You can get this information as long as you ask someone to inquire inside. Don't we have spies from other villages in our village? After all, those merchants come to various villages to trade. Who can guarantee that these merchants are not spies, or will not take this information back intentionally or unintentionally? Quote. Danzo naturally understood what Sarutobi Hiruzen was afraid of, but he was not afraid at all. Who wouldn't train a few spies? Didn't Sarutobi Hiruzen have some too? After all, those villages are now similar to Konoha. Either it's an internal problem or an external reason. In short, everyone is busy with something. Even if you take action at this time, everyone can maintain tacit understanding and handle their own affairs. On the contrary, when these things are completely over, the Cloud Village and the Rock Ninja temporarily stop fighting to deal with Konoha together, and the internal problems of the Sand Village are solved, then what awaits them is that they cannot fight with Uchiha, and even have to compromise with Uchiha Byakuya. Thinking of the last time he was defeated by Byakuya, Danzo felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He had been mixed up for a lifetime, but he was actually calculated by a junior. But fortunately, he took action in time, which made the people in the village hate Uchiha even more. This is the power of public opinion. So, Sarutobi, what is your choice now? No, I will never allow infighting within the village. Haha, Sarutobi, you will regret it. Danzo stood up and left, smiling coldly in his heart. He couldn't help but secretly thought that Sarutobi Hiruzen was hypocritical. Wasn't this sentence just a hint to himself to let him do it? But it doesn't matter. As long as the Uchiha can be destroyed, that will be enough. Then let's find Uchiha Itachi first. Danzo also thought about it in his heart, and let the Uchiha have internal strife. If Uchiha Itachi and others can kill all the Uchiha clan members, then naturally there will be no need for him to take action. If not, the Roots and Anbu will be killed at that time. You can take action against the Uchiha clan. In short, the Uchiha clan is not worthy of possessing the Sharingan. After he destroys the Uchiha clan, he will have a massive amount of Sharingan, and will be able to use Izanagi more by then. Oni-chan, you're back. At midnight, Sasuke dozed off and looked at Itachi, who pushed in the door. The drowsiness on his face suddenly woke up. He was going to rest early today, but because he had something good he wanted to share with Itachi, he waited until now. The moment he saw Sasuke, a trace of kindness flashed across Itachi's tired face. He raised his hand and touched Sasuke's hair, and then reminded him gently, "It's already very late, Sasuke, why don't you sleep?" Quote. Sasuke used to have to rest at this time. Is there anything waiting for him today? Is it because I haven't seen myself for a long time? Itachi laughed in his heart, thinking about it. He had been doing tasks and working on improving the issues between the village and Uchiha recently. So it seems that I don't have much time to spend with Sasuke, and even the training I promised Sasuke before has been postponed for a long time. Oni-chan, I have some good news for you. What? Looking at Sasuke's eager eyes, Itachi smiled, and then looked at Sasuke expectantly, waiting for Sasuke's good news. I met the leader of the Bai tribe in the clan this afternoon after school. The leader of the Bai tribe said that he would teach me how to practice tomorrow. Sasuke said, his tone full of excitement. When he came back today, he had actually told Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Makoto about this matter. Although Fugaku was ousted by Byakuya, he still admired Byakuya's courage. When he knew that Byakuya was going to teach Sasuke, he had no intention of refusing in his heart, and even wanted to thank Byakuya. Byakuya is known as a genius ninja in the clan. He had the strength of an elite Junin when he was the same age as Itachi. Now he is also a strong 3 Magatama. It is simple to teach Sasuke. What's more, he is still the head of the clan, and even though he has many things to do every day, he can still find time to teach Sasuke. It is impossible for Fugaku not to thank him. And in fact, Fugaku felt a little indebted to Sasuke in his heart. He had given all his efforts and put everything on Itachi. He didn't seem to care that much about this younger son who was not as talented as Itachi. Unlike Fugaku, Uchiha Itachi's expression changed immediately after hearing what Sasuke said. He thought of many possibilities. Could it be that Byakuya wanted to use Sasuke to blackmail him? What's wrong with Oni-chan? Sasuke had been looking at Itachi when he just finished speaking, and he could clearly feel that Itachi's expression had changed slightly. He didn't know why. It's okay. Itachi shook his head and calmed himself down. He knew that there were many possibilities, and his current guess may not be accurate in the end. How about I send you there tomorrow? Itachi decided to go and test it out tomorrow, not to mention that there was still Shisui's matter here. He also wanted to see how Bai made Shisui choose to switch sides. Okay, Sasuke didn't know why, but he was relieved to see that his brother not only didn't object, but even sent him there. Then Sasuke, you should go and rest early. Oni-chan, you have to remember the agreement between us. Don't worry, it will happen. After coaxing Sasuke back to his room, Itachi sighed, hesitated again and finally came to the door of Fugaku's room. Father, mother, are you asleep? Itachi, well, I have something I want to ask my father about. Itachi originally didn't want to find Fugaku, but he couldn't help but care about Sasuke. Itachi, tell me. In the room, Fugaku looked at the ceiling, probably knowing why Itachi was looking for him. This child, do you still insist on going your own way? Father, you should know that Sasuke is going to train with the clan leader, right? Well, this is good for Sasuke. Byakuya is very strong. At least he is more suitable for teaching Sasuke than the teacher at the ninja school. The ninjas in your own family are definitely better taught than the ninjas in the ninja school. Our own people know our own people. But his thoughts are dangerous. That's right, he didn't object to others teaching Sasuke. In fact, if it hadn't been Byakuya, he wouldn't have asked any more questions. Just like what Fugaku said, the ninja teachings in the clan are much better than other ninja teachers. However, Bai Yi's thoughts were too dangerous. He was afraid that Bai Yi would transmit some of his thoughts to Sasuke, and he was also afraid that Bai Yi was going to use Sasuke to blackmail him into something. Itachi, do you know why the people in the clan are getting closer to Bai Yi? Fugaku sighed. For a moment, he regretted Itachi's thoughts. He shouldn't have let Itachi take this path in the first place. Because he took back his original clan land, but it also deepened the hatred between us and Konoha. Of course Itachi knew, but this matter was not without consequences. Now that the relationship between Konoha and Uchiha was even more tense, Byakuya needed to be responsible. Itachi, what the clan wants is actually very simple, that is, respect and getting back what belongs to us. That's all. The Uchiha clan doesn't want to fight with anyone. When I was the clan leader, I didn't win any of these. On the contrary, it was as he got along with Konoha that he became more and more cowardly and suffered more and more losses, which aroused dissatisfaction within the clan. And now what you are saying is actually very clear to everyone. Rather than being consumed to death like this, everyone actually wants to fight to the death, so Bai Yi becomes the clan leader, he represents the current thoughts of the clan. Quote, if it weren't for Byakuya, he would actually still be the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, because the neutral faction has always been the neutral faction, and neither the radicals nor the conservatives can do anything to anyone. Therefore, this strange balance was maintained, but the appearance of Bai Yi broke this balance. At least that time the neutralists were a little shaken, so Byakuya came to power with a slight advantage. But not only the Uchiha clan, but also Konoha will suffer losses. Once a war starts, it will mean that both sides will suffer, and it will also give other ninja villages an opportunity to take advantage of. If the village is gone, where will the family still be? A place for survival. Shouldn't we consider the village? Itachi was puzzled that his father, who had always been dovish in the past, seemed to be speaking for Byakuya now. He suddenly felt a sense of betrayal and alienation. Itachi, you have to remember that you belong to the Uchiha clan first. In addition, you can let him go as to Sasuke's affairs. Byakuya will not harm Sasuke. It's getting late, so you should rest early. Uchiha Fugaku's tone could not hide his disappointment. Although he had never wanted to start a war with Uchiha Fugaku, he first recognized himself as a member of the Uchiha clan. As for Itachi's so-called thinking from the side of the village, shouldn't he think from the side of the clan? I understand, father, then I won't disturb you. Uchiha Itachi took a deep breath and lowered his head. No one knew what he was thinking, and he left here in a moment. In the room, Uchiha Makoto looked at Uchiha Fugaku with some worry and asked, does that child Itachi want him to quit the Anbu? I always feel that something is wrong with his mind now, and if Byakuya takes Kazuki with him. Yi Kaijin, Itachi's words. In fact, in the current situation, most people in the clan believe that Byakuya may lead Uchiha and Konoha to war, at least not peacefully this time. The Uchiha clan would not give in, or Konoha would give in, which would inevitably make all the other ninja clan except the Uchiha clan stare. Now, if Konoha gives in, then the other ninja clan will be more flexible. Therefore, this game not only involves Uchiha and Konoha, but also other ninja clans are also waiting. In fact, there is no need to start a war, but there is too much tension between the village and the Uchiha. Sometimes I don't know exactly what Byakuya wants to do. Uchiha Fugaku sighed. In fact, even he didn't know what Byakuya wanted to do. You said let's go to war, but you didn't seem to give a signal to the radicals. You said let's not go to war, which made the relationship with Konoha so tense. As for the child Itachi, I guess he won't listen to us. He has his own ideas. We can only wait and see when the time comes. He wanted to persuade him, but what could he do? Will Uchiha Itachi listen to him? Fugaku felt that he didn't know how to do it at all, so he simply gave up and patted Makoto on the shoulder. Go to rest early. I'm not the clan leader anymore anyway. It's Byakuya who should have a headache. After no longer being the clan leader, Fugaku's mentality improved a lot. The next day, Sasuke approached Itachi early because today was the first time he was being coached by Byakuya, and Sasuke wanted to go there early to give Byakuya a good impression. The two of them arrived at Baiyi very early. Would you like a drink? Chief, what is this? Sasuke stepped forward curiously and took a look. This was the first time he had seen this thing. Coke, it's delicious. I'm going to sell this and start Konoha's soda business. Itachi, you should try it too. Coke came from the everyday world. Anyway, it's cheaper to buy from there, and there's no such soda here, so Baiyi plans to bring it over and sell it. There is rice cake and adzuki bean soup in Konoha, and there are also things similar to soda drinks, but compared to Coke, Byakuya feels that the taste is not as good. Apart from weapons and detonating talismans, the Uchiha clan's industries don't have many side businesses, unlike the Akamichi who have barbecues or the Nara clan who have medicinal materials. During the war, the Uchiha clan was very rich, but in this peaceful era, the Uchiha clan's business was not very good. So in order to improve the family's economy, he also planned to start a side business. What's more, this is also the first step of Baiyi's preparation, economic warfare. What you eat, drink, and use are all provided by the Uchiha clan, and you fall out with them. Then don't think about such things anymore. In the final analysis, it is a matter of interests. Uchiha does not have much interest entanglement with other families, but if both parties have interest entanglements, naturally they will also have to consider Uchiha's attitude on many things. Why are Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others so popular in Konoha? Is it because he has too many interests? Hiruzen Sarutobi has been in power for too long, so many families need to cooperate with Hiruzen Sarutobi and the families behind him. From this point of view, those who support Hiruzen Sarutobi naturally that's a lot more. Delicious. Sasuke felt the breath rush straight to his forehead when he took the first sip, and the coke that was specially chilled by Baiyi gave him a chilling feeling. It's indeed delicious. Is the clan leader going to sell this? Although his actions are very radical, in every aspect, Baiyi is indeed surprisingly suitable to be the leader of the clan. Itachi muttered in his heart. After all this, he felt that Baiyi was more suitable to be the leader of the clan than his father. Yes, business within the clan is not easy. Everyone is waiting to eat. Ninjas are okay, but ordinary Uchiha clan members really need some opportunities to survive. Although the Uchiha clan may seem like a big family, in fact not everyone lives a wealthy life, and there are also people who live in poverty. But what you are doing now, patriarch, is completely different from what you said. Itachi lowered his eyes. He was a little surprised in his heart that Byakuya wanted to change the living conditions of the lower class Uchiha, but what he said was to give some living conditions. If he continued like this, everyone would die in the end. Sasuke, if you were given the choice to live on your knees or die standing, which one would you choose? Byakuya did not answer Itachi's words, but turned to look at Sasuke. Die standing. Sasuke blurted out without thinking that the honor of their Uchiha clan would never allow him to live on his knees. Look, this is everyone's choice Itachi. After Byakuya got Sasuke's answer, he turned his head and looked at Itachi again. And Sasuke also looked back and forth between Baiyi and Itachi strangely, feeling that there was something in their words. Okay, you probably still have a mission. Go and complete it first. Sasuke will leave it to me. Looking at Itachi's speechless words, he would have almost laughed wildly if there wasn't someone beside him. This is being misunderstood by everyone, and even his own brother thinks that he has done something wrong. Bai Yi wants to let the filial son feel this feeling of betrayal and separation. The better days are yet to come. Bai Yi has prepared more than that. Clan leader, I feel like the conversation between you and Oni-chan is weird. Although Sasuke was still young, he could see that there seemed to be some things between Bai Yi and his brother that he was not clear about. It's nothing, it's just that the understanding of some things is different. Bai Yi smiled and didn't say anything at this time. Then, he no longer struggled with this issue, stood up, pointed to the location of the Uchiha training ground, and asked, "Let me see, Sasuke, how strong are you now?" Sasuke at this period should be able to master the powerful fireball technique, and other than that, there are some compulsory courses in the ninja school. Okay, Patriarch, Sasuke said, with a sense of excitement in his tone. He actually fell asleep very late yesterday. At that time, Sasuke was imagining that if he had Byakuya's guidance, he might be able to graduate early. Mr. Patriarch, have you heard that you, like Oni-chan, graduated from ninja school early? Sasuke knew that Bai Yi was a genius no less than his brother, so he was very looking forward to today's training. Well, he graduated early. It seems like Sasuke wants to leave the ninja school early. It can be heard from Sasuke's expression and his unabashed tone that Sasuke really wants to graduate early. Speaking of which, it is not an easy thing to graduate early in this era, and this is not a war period. Of course, I don't want to play house with them in the ninja school. Sasuke always believed that he could not learn anything in the ninja school and could only waste his time there. Likewise, he also wants to prove to his father and brother that he is not bad either. After graduation, he will be considered a real ninja, and others will no longer treat him as a child. Graduating early requires a team. Otherwise, you can only form a team alone. I guess your father will not agree. After all, graduating early actually depends on timing. First of all, it's a war period, and secondly, it also depends on whether there is a team to form with you. Otherwise, should one Junin lead a ninja? The Jonin probably wouldn't even think about it. As for letting Sasuke go on a mission, Uchiha Fugaku would probably not agree to this either. Then if I graduate early, can't I take on the task and complete it myself? Sasuke really didn't think about this. He just thought that he would graduate early and then take on tasks by himself. This way he could accumulate experience, which was much better than wasting time in the ninja school. Of course you can. In fact, the so-called Junin leading a genin does not necessarily mean that you have to do this. If you want to graduate early and do your own missions, you can do it. It's just that all the missions you take in the early stage are to deal with weeds. The reason why a Junin will take you on the mission to find pets is because you will have some missions out of the village later. If you do this kind of mission for the first time, you will inevitably have some surprises, but a Junin can ensure safety. Quote, in fact, if you just do D-level tasks in the village, it's not impossible. The key is looking at Sasuke, he probably doesn't want to do those tasks. Then how can I graduate early? For the graduation exam, you only need to complete the exam, but it is actually relatively simple for you. In fact, it stands to reason that if the Uchiha clan had not been wiped out, Sasuke would have graduated early based on his talent and character. However, because Uchiha was destroyed later, Sasuke was forced to spend several years in the ninja school. Moreover, there is actually no one in Konoha who can teach Sasuke. Kakashi counts as half, but Kakashi himself knows nothing about the secrets of the Uchiha clan. The Sharingan was also used very crudely in the early stage, so it is naturally impossible to teach him. What about Sasuke? In fact, the place where Sasuke really grew up was on Orochimaru's side. Konoha is too gentle here. If Sasuke grew up normally, it would be nothing, but Sasuke has always been burdened with hatred, and Konoha's move is actually more about smoothing out Sasuke's edges and allowing Sasuke to give birth to several Uchiha in the village. The previous Uchiha disobedient all died, but Uchiha's bloodstains are very useful. It is impossible for the third generation not to want more Uchiha. Then Patriarch, please train me according to graduation standards. Sasuke looked at Bai Yi solemnly. Although Bai Yi had just analyzed the pros and cons, Sasuke still thought that he wanted to graduate early. And practicing with Bai Yi doesn't mean he wants to be a fool, he really wants to become stronger. Okay, if you are suitable, I will talk to the school to arrange your graduation exam. It seems like it would be nice to have Sasuke graduate early. It completely changed Sasuke's fate, and it seemed like a lottery opportunity. Then please leave it to the clan leader. Although he felt a little embarrassed that Byakuya had been taking care of him like this, Sasuke's desire to graduate was obviously more urgent. It doesn't matter, Sasuke comes to see your strength. After Bai finished speaking, he signaled to Sasuke that he could start. Then I'm welcome. Sasuke didn't use kunai, and was going to use taijutsu to fight Byakuya. The same moves were often used in battles in ninja schools. This punch seemed to be full of flaws. It seems that the ninja school doesn't teach any skills at all. It's really just playing house. Because it was a wartime, Bai would teach some fighting skills, but in this peaceful era, it seems that even the teachings of the ninja school are more peaceful. Got it. Raising his hand, Bai directly controlled Sasuke's left hand, and then a kunai was placed across Sasuke's neck. It was so cold and sharp that Sasuke swallowed his saliva subconsciously. If it was an enemy just now, he would have died. Too immature Sasuke, there is no need to test it anymore, let's go practice directly. After saying that, Bai looked at Sasuke's lost face, patted Sasuke on the shoulder, and comforted him, you are still young, and the future belongs to you young people. But, I was defeated so easily by you, the clan leader. Isn't it normal? Bai complained in his heart, just a student who just went to the ninja school, if he can't solve it quickly, then he doesn't have to be the Uchiha clan leader anymore. Sasuke's only concern was that he was the head of the ninja school, and he was doing well in the school. He had never lost to anyone. Although he had just thought that he would definitely lose to Bai, he did not expect that he would be defeated by Bai before he even had the chance to use his ninjutsu and the three-body technique. I heard that Bai had awakened the three Magatama. If he had used the Sharingan just now, he would not even have the chance to fight. So you should know all of Sasuke's three-body technique, right? In fact, it is relatively easy to graduate in this era. As long as the teacher thinks you can graduate, it's okay. If you have learned the simple three-body technique and passed the cultural courses, it basically depends on whether the teacher will pass you. Since Sasuke has mastered the Great Fireball technique, there is no reason why he can't use the three-body technique. He is not Naruto, and the Nine Tails is interfering with his chakra. I know it, clan leader. Are you going to teach me more powerful ninjutsu? Sasuke's eyes flashed with hope. He wanted to learn ninjutsu from Bai. Bai must know many powerful ninjutsu. When he learns it, he must make Itachi look at him with new eyes. Before learning ninjutsu, you should lay a solid foundation, just like a house. If the foundation is not stable, it is only a matter of time before it collapses. Before that, start with climbing trees. In fact, if Uchiha was not destroyed in the anime, Sasuke would have learned climbing trees and treading water in the family long ago, instead of Kakashi teaching him. The reason why family ninjas are ahead of civilian ninjas is not only because of blood, but more because of resources. It is difficult for civilian ninjas to stand out without resources. Jiraiya is because he is a disciple of the third generation, and Namikaze Minato is naturally talented, plus his teacher is Jiraiya. But how many talented civilian ninjas like Namikaze Minato are there in this world? In the final analysis, without blood and resources, you can't go far. Master, are you sure you want to climb a tree? Yes, attach chakra to your feet, and then walk up like me. This can improve your control of chakra and avoid waste later, and it is also the basis for some subsequent abilities. After listening to Bai's words, Sasuke did not doubt him. After seeing Bai walking up the tree just now, he was also eager to try. Climbing trees and treading water are the most basic. Although there is not much teaching, Bai will not be as irresponsible as Kakashi. After telling Sasuke this, he said nothing. When Sasuke made a mistake, Bai would remind Sasuke where he made the mistake before. Master, I think I can do it. Sasuke stood on the top of the tree and waved to Bai below. I have to say that Sasuke at this time is really cute. He was still lively before experiencing the night of extermination, but this guy is not pretending to be cool in front of him. Bai remembered the first meeting very clearly, and he could still pretend to be cool and aloof. Not bad, not bad. Then the next step is treading water, which is much more difficult on flowing water than on a tree. Sure enough, Kakashi's education is really irresponsible. Now someone reminds him that Sasuke's speed is obviously much faster than before, and Sasuke now is definitely weaker than Sasuke at that time. And this can be fast. In fact, it also shows that Kakashi really didn't teach the three people attentively at the beginning. In one day, Sasuke quickly mastered climbing trees and treading water. He is worthy of being the reincarnation of Indra. It's just a pity that Sasuke didn't give himself a chance to draw a lottery. I still need the chakra of Indra and Ashura. Once I get these two, I basically don't need the Eternal Eye to get the Samsara Eye. The Samsara Eye does not require the Eternal Eye, but requires the Sage Body and Sage Eye, as well as the chakra of Indra and Ashura. But there is still a lot of time. At worst, if I can't draw it in the lottery later, I still have a chance to get it. After a day of training, Sasuke returned home and told Fugaku and Makoto about the results of today's training. Fugaku was also a little surprised when he learned that Sasuke could complete treading water and climbing trees in one day. I didn't expect Bai to teach Sasuke to complete climbing trees and treading water so quickly. Although this is not very difficult, it is great that Sasuke can complete it so quickly at his age. I didn't expect Sasuke to be a genius. Uchiha Makoto covered her mouth and smiled. She didn't care about these things at all, just because he was Sasuke, her own child. After hearing her praise, Sasuke's face turned red and his heart beat faster. He was obviously excited. It's really amazing, Fugaku echoed. His eyes moved to Sasuke, and he looked at him seriously and asked, Sasuke, do you want to worship Bai as your teacher? He didn't just think about it and said this, but after careful consideration. First of all, this is actually his attitude, which shows that he has no hostility towards Bai. Secondly, Bai had proposed to let Sasuke graduate early. Although he could take Sasuke to perform tasks, he still thought that if it was Bai, it would definitely be much better than himself. Judging from today's teaching, Bai is obviously better than his own teaching, and he has already failed to teach one son. Fugaku dare not continue to teach Sasuke. He is afraid that Sasuke will take a path he doesn't want to see because of his teaching. Judging from Bai's attitude, it is obvious that he appreciates Sasuke very much. If Sasuke is willing to become his disciple, it will be good news for both parties. Become a disciple. When Sasuke heard his father say this, he was shocked and at the same time he was a little entangled. He practiced with Bai this afternoon. Although he only taught some basics, it also made Sasuke realize that a good teacher can definitely make him improve. After treading water and climbing trees, Sasuke found that the consumption was much less than before when he used the Great Fireball technique, and the control was better. This is much better than the teaching of those teachers in the ninja school. That's right, Sasuke, in fact, you really don't need to stay in the ninja school now. I don't think there is anyone in the village who is more suitable to be your teacher than Bai. In fact, he thinks Itachi can also, but Itachi's focus is not here at all now. Father, I am willing, but the clan leader has so many things every day, do you really have time to teach me? Sasuke was a little embarrassed. He had no opinion, but thought he was taking advantage, but Bai, as the clan leader, had a lot of things every day. Does he really have time to teach himself? Will he be too troublesome? Yes, Fugaku, given the current situation in the clan, does Bai really have time to teach? Although Makoto felt that Fugaku's suggestion was good, she also thought that Bai seemed to have no time at all. The relationship between the clan and the village has become more tense than ever before. And she is also worried about the relationship between Bai and Sasuke. The wife is always worried about the relationship between her children and teachers. Don't worry, I will talk to Bai first. Fugaku was not sure, so he could only give it a try. But if Bai knew it, he would probably smile crookedly. As a teacher, it is normal for him to impart some of his own ideas, right? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.